This is the Vision 79 podcast, where my friend Sander and myself, Mason, discuss recent developments in our business and personal growth. The name Vision 79 comes from our respective racing numbers. Sanders is 40, mine is 39, and we have similar ambition to progress in business and personal growth. Many successful people have started small, just like us, but few of them have documented their early years. They often say they wish they had, and given we believe in learning lessons from others, we intend to be the first to document our journey from start to finish. This is simply a documentary of our lives, and as such, we do not monetize these videos, so enjoy the ad-free content. Each episode is broken down into 3 segments, each covering our progress over the past week. We start by discussing our life updates, then our business updates, and lastly, we share any lessons we've learned over the past week. This week is a little bit tricky because Sander had to push from Sunday recording to in the week recording, so now it's a Tuesday recording.
Yeah,
And
appreciate the flexibility.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'm flexible, but there was a girl working in my apartment community center where we usually record. So we couldn't record in our usual spot, so we had to pivot last second. But we planned on starting recording at 11. Now it's 11:30, so we're not like too far off the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what is your life update this week?
Life update this week is rather short, but really good business update.
Okay.
So, the only thing I got life related is so I used to race at PBIR, which is
Yeah.
Palm Beach International Raceway.
Got it.
Down in Palm Beach, Jupiter area. And about maybe 6 years ago at this point, that track closed 5 years ago. And so after that point, it's pretty much stayed vacant. I mean, there's been some bouncing around between private investors looking at it, Walmart turning it into a fulfillment facility. The city's actually looking at buying it back because of the street race issues that they've had after the track closed, and turning it into a track specifically to solve that problem.
Dude, a government-owned racetrack would be fucking insane.
It would be wild.
That'd be crazy.
You would have the absolute worst protocol when it came to.
I can't think of any government-owned racetracks.
Yeah,
I only know of private ones.
government-owned racetrack.
Yeah. There's national parks, but there's no, like, national
Racetrack. Dirt bike track. No, just kidding.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the government was looking at buying it.
Yeah, the city was looking at it and stuff. But I went down there to explore and look at stuff. Just kind of walk around the area.
What'd you find?
Not much. I mean, went closer, got there later than I wanted to. Got there at like 7-ish.
PM?
Yeah. I wanted to get there at like 5.
Mm.
Just so it was like sunset, but not like sundown. You know what I mean?
Right.
But got there around 7-ish and just kind of walked around. Didn't end up going anywhere over to like the road track, drag strip side of things.
Mhm.
Just car track and like walk that. It was wild to see. Like it's wild to race there and like know what it was like, and then go back there and be like, oh shit, like
It's super
whoa,
fucked, yeah.
yeah,
Well, now it's all overgrown and, like, dilapidated, right?
yeah. So it's just grass everywhere. All the paint's faded. Like you can, like some of the corners, the curbing is like, the curbing is there, but like you literally have to like hunt through the grass to find it.
Wow.
Like the curbing's not even visible from like where you're walking.
Wow.
Which was like wild to see. I mean, like I pulled up an old YouTube video for Sammy of like me racing there, and I was like, look at what it used to be,
Right.
right? And it was like, I was looking at the video. I was like, yeah, like, I was looking at photos from above where my mom used to stand on this like grandstand thing that's now been taken down.
Right.
But from that photo, you could see like the lawnmower lines in the infield of like, this like manicured lawn and like,
No,
it
it's
was,
all your own.
it wasn't ever like a perfect track, but it was nice,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just wild to see. But I saw some cool videos of people on TikTok online who had went, they went over to like the drag strip side. That's like more of people's interest. I've seen for the most part, like a lot of people like going up in the drag tower.
Well,
and stuff like that.
usually people prefer to drag like, race their cars in a straight line than around a track.
Yeah.
So, I would expect that the drag strip there's an airport in Rockledge that is abandoned, that people used to use the runway as a drag strip all the
Yeah.
time. Um But if I recall, there's only one way in and one way out of that airstrip, and so, like, if cops find you drag racing there, they can block you off. So I don't think it's as popular nowadays as it used to be, but, um,
Yeah. It was it's kind of a similar deal with the. I heard someone found like another entrance to it. But like it's pretty similar. Like you kind of just pull up and like I parked I parked behind this like dumpster
Hmm.
and I was like, wow, I guess like like
You found
at
a
the
gap.
point you
You
get
found a gap in the fence.
yes, exactly. But like at the point like you get out, it's like I was talking to some people online. They're like, yeah, I went into this one building, security went off, then cops showed up. But like even in that case, they're like, hey, just like don't do that.
Yeah.
Like it's not like super
They're not gonna
or
like
whatever.
arrest you or whatever. Yeah, great,
Yeah.
great
So
stuff to really like urban exploring.
yeah.
Which is like a fucking death sentence for a girl that weighs 100 pounds, you know? But
Right.
that used to be like her pastime of choice when she lived in the Northeast. And then she moved down to Florida and she was like, you can't go in abandoned buildings. What the fuck? And I'm like,
Yeah.
you can in New York? What are you talking about? Like, because all I've ever known is Florida abandoned buildings where you'll find like, people who've done so many drugs that they aren't really human anymore or worse. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Appalachian feral people, but in Florida. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I wasn't trying to run into anyone. I mean, I was staying on the track area and whatever.
yeah.
But it was cool. Santa really wanted to do something for her birthday that was kind of like adventure exploring.
Right. You think you can get, like, cars out there or, like, that little motorcycle thing you have? That would be fun, taking that
It
little
would be
bike around.
super fun. I bet you could. I don't know what the other entrances that the guy talked about on TikTok is. But that sounded more promising because he said that he went through some lot and then got onto some old dirt road that wasn't on the map and then essentially just like drove in
Hmm.
um or rode in. I don't know which, but
But you could take a bicycle there.
oh yeah, I
You could
mean
bike the track.
for sure, for sure.
Not as much fun, but still, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was cool though. It was a fun experience. Kind of went down there, did that.
Could you
Uh,
imagine if they converted the compound into a karting track? That'd be wild.
I
I'd be
saw
so broke.
Dude, I saw a reel on TikTok the other day of the compound, and it
Mhm.
was like a documentary style reel.
Yeah.
And like I
Is
don't
it
know,
from, Trap Tours or something like that?
I don't know. It looked like
Tourist Trap.
it actually looked like it was a movie clip. Like it looked like someone there was a real documentary out there about the compound, and
So
someone had clipped it and put it on TikTok.
there is a real documentary of the compound, like, on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
And then there's also a Brevard local YouTuber. I think his YouTube name is Tourist Trap.
Mm.
But he made a video of covering the compound using some clips from that main documentary.
Uh,
His is like a 10-minute video. It's pretty good. He interviews people who go to the compound.
oh yeah.
The major movie, I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard from the people who have seen it, it's more from like the governmental level and doesn't interview like like my buddy Bob, who I work with, was at the compound when those 2 guys died on the motorcycles a few months
Oh
ago.
yeah.
He's interviewing those types of people, like the
Yeah.
people who go there and are a part of the community. And
Yeah.
so his videos are really good. He's got some of like the slums of Titusville, and like the every community has like a local like
Yeah.
rapper or whatever, right? So he interviews like the Titusville neighborhood local rapper or whatever. They're good videos. I like them a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this other video on TikTok. I mean, all of my stuff is now urban exploring.
But yeah,
It's all screwed up,
it's
but
crazy how fast your feed changes to match
yeah,
whatever you're doing that day.
it's wild.
It's wild.
But what was it? Oh, I saw videos there in Melbourne.
Mhm.
There's some like it looks like a McDonald's playhouse,
Mm.
but like on steroids. It's like that kind of vibe.
Okay.
It's like a big, just like abandoned playhouse, and these kids were in there like going down like slides and stuff. And I was like, where in Melbourne is this? It's like I've been around here for like not that long, but like I feel like long enough to like at least have heard about something like that.
Yeah, that's sad, dude. The first thing that I thought of is like a kid going down a slide, and then there's like a homeless person sleeping in the slide, and
Oh yeah,
that's a terrible scene.
yeah,
But I don't know. I don't know that. I'm not familiar.
yeah. No, I didn't know.
Palm Bay or Melbourne?
The caption just said Melbourne. I mean,
Huh.
people don't give out locations because then other people come in and destroy them.
Yeah, that's
So that's like like you'll find like I saw some crazy reels. I'm like, where is that? It was like
yeah.
I don't know where it was, but it was this house that was like clearly early 1900s,
Mhm.
and it didn't have photos of the outside or anything, but they had like video shot of the inside, and like it looked like no one had been in there. It looked like it was fully set up, decorated
Mhm.
in the 1920s and 30s, and then someone they left,
Mhm.
and then no one touched it.
So
Like
it's all dusty, but
what
it's all in good
it's
condition?
all in super good condition. Both
Mm.
these like you walked into the main hall, and these like wooden staircases spiraled up to like this loft section with
Mm.
all of this like nice wood, this massive crystal chandelier in the
Mm.
center, like unbroken.
This is in Melbourne?
I don't know where this
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. But it was just like, where is this?
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Super cool stuff like that. But
Have you seen the videos of the abandoned Russian space shuttles that people go visit?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Fucking so cool, dude.
yeah. There's
I
an
don't know.
abandoned NASA rocket out in the Everglades. Have you seen that?
Like a crashed rocket?
No, no, no. Like a test facility, an
I
old
didn't know
NASA
that they
test
had a
facility.
test facility.
Yeah, apparently it was built during the Soviet War.
Oh, it's a NASA test facility.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
yeah, it was.
the part of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Got it,
yeah.
okay, it was a got it.
And it's out in the Everglades, and people have gone down there. And like there's video from like like this grate down to a lower section where you can see like a portion of like a rocket or a missile, whatever it is.
Missile silo, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, now
But I haven't seen anyone get down in there. I've only seen people walking around the associated
right.
rooms. So I don't know if like I don't know. Maybe no one's smart enough to like bring a long rope. I don't know. But
I'm not sure. Well, so the way that you actually get into those chambers is from like, you don't climb in through the missile shaft, right?
right.
For safety issues.
Yeah. What's
So
kidding?
you go there's like a separate facility, like, a ways away, and you go down to the bottom and then you go in to maintain it. So maybe those access points are like blocked off and no one wants to rappel down there, which I totally get. Um, I do think I recall seeing something like that, but I didn't know it was in the Everglades. That's right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's one in the Everglades.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm sure that LiDAR will do crazy things
Oh yeah.
for urban exploring. Like
Yeah.
once LiDAR is like, commonly available,
Once
like
you
you
can
can
get
get
it
one
on
on
your phone.
Amazon in 5 or 10 years. Like people are gonna be like,
I'm sure
let's throw it on a drone
Yeah,
and
it's
just
exactly what
look
I
for
was thinking.
crazy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was thinking is you could just put it on drone. Yeah, that'd be super cool. It's a big world, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I saw this cool video. This is a little off topic, but do you know the small world paradox? Or I don't know if it's a paradox, but the small world phenomenon.
Yeah.
There's a theory that was posed in like the 1930s or 40s or something like that, which is
Mhm.
that no one person is more than 6 degrees removed from another person on the planet.
Yeah.
So, like, the Wikipedia game where it's like we start on the Wikipedia page for the Palm Bay Raceway, and then you have to, in a certain number of clicks, get to, like, Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Sure.
So you go from Palm Bay to, like, Palm Bay Mayor, and then you go from Palm Bay Mayor to, like, sex scandal, and then sex scandal to Jeffrey Epstein. So that's, like,
Yeah.
4 clicks. There's a theory that you can do that with people. So, like, you are no more than 6 people removed from Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So interestingly, they tested this with, like, a big pool of candidates, and no one was more than 6 degrees away from any
Oh
other given
wow.
person, even famous people, and I thought about it, and I was like, "That's interesting," and I was like, "Actually, I went to high school with a kid, and I met him because he was friends with my younger brother, but he and I were in the same calculus class. He is in the Air Force, and he has met Elon Musk.
Oh wow.
So there's my 2 degrees to Elon Musk, right? Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have his
Yeah.
phone number or whatever, but, like, that's the proximity. So then Veritasium did a video where they tested this as a mathematical model,
Mm.
and they go into the math of it, but actually, it's usually even less than 6,
Oh wow.
which is a crazy discovery. Every person is less than 6 people away from
Wow.
pick person. I thought
Yeah.
that was super interesting.
Yeah. There was
But then that makes me think, I wonder if so I like to have a guy for everything,
Mhm.
right? So, like, you're my work on cars guy,
Sure.
right? And
Yeah.
then I've got, I don't know. Now I'm blanking on all my things. I've got a watch guy, right? Stuff like that. Like, I have a question about this topic, welding. Dutchie's our welding guy,
Yeah.
right? I have a question about a topic, I'm gonna call that guy. But I don't have a guy for, like, deep sea fishing equipment.
Yeah.
I'd really like one. That'd be a neat person to have. You
Yeah.
can do it, bud.
You can do
My
it.
cat's trying to jump down off the couch. You got it.
I believe you.
Good job.
Wow.
I'd like to have that. And if everybody's only 6 degrees removed from someone, wouldn't it be super cool? It's kind of like a blend of Facebook and LinkedIn, but it's for the express purpose of, like, here's who I am, and then here's like the top 3 things that I know and am good at.
Mm,
And then you can go make those connections with people like really rapidly. I don't know if that is an app already. I'd be really interested in finding it.
yeah.
That would be super cool, especially for real estate. And I've
That
got a note on that in
would
my life update.
yeah. Huh.
Mhm.
Very but
Yep.
that's pretty much all I have for the life update. I mean, it was just a cool experience, cool to
Cool.
see. Sad to see it all, broken,
Yeah.
destroyed. Um,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Cletus McFarland bought a racetrack not too long ago. So there could be like another YouTuber that ends up buying it and then restoring it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that, like, something will happen with that land eventually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what about you? What do you have for life this week?
I've got some more. So first and foremost, I have my top secret clearance now officially. I
Congrats.
have my badge. It is a done deal, which is super awesome. And the way that the clearancing process works is once you're cleared for a secret, top secret SCI
Yeah.
clearance level, that means you're now
Sorry.
eligible. Are you good?
Is it still working?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, cool.
Now you're eligible to be read into specific programs. So
Yeah.
like someone working on Chinook helicopter is not necessarily going to be read into any like fighter planes, right? Because it's
Right.
just like kind of a need to know sort of thing. So I have my top secret clearance and now I have to go get read into like whatever programs. But that was super cool. I'm glad to have it done. Glad to have a new photo on my badge because
Yeah.
my old photo is like hideous. It's hideous, but I can't show it to anybody outside of work because like the badge is proprietary. So
Oh, yeah.
it's not a problem for anybody outside of work, but everyone at work is like, "The fuck? Like, you look weird in that photo."
Yeah.
Um, I forget this happened so long ago now, but the AC started working in the Camaro again.
Mm,
That
yeah.
was last Tuesday at noon, and then last Tuesday at 12:30, the AC stopped working.
Oh,
So very briefly, I was super happy, and then it went out again. So I'm guessing it's probably the compressor clutch.
yeah.
Um,
That's what I'm thinking too.
yeah, I was excited, but alas.
Sadness.
It feels like a long time ago. My parents went on vacation and they brought gifts when they came back.
Oh, cool.
Thank you, parents. Yeah, they went up to like New Hampshire, and so they brought. Grace is really crazy about apple cider donuts because she,
They are really good.
yeah, and apparently they're different in the Northeast than they are down
Yeah.
here because there's apple orchards. So my parents went to a bakery right before getting on the airplane and got like fresh donuts and then brought them back for us, which was
Oh,
super sweet.
nice.
Yeah, so Grace went crazy, and they were really good.
Yeah, there's this one spot that, I used to stop at with family when we were traveling,
Mhm.
and it was like a food truck equivalent for cider stuff.
Oh,
It
cool.
was like, so regular cider, cider donuts, cider whatever,
Yeah,
right? And they had some banger cider donuts,
yeah,
really good.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, they brought a bunch of stuff back. They got other things too. There's, like, marmalade and jam and, like,
Mm,
maple themed stuff, so
nice.
thank you guys. I got contacted the other day by a friend that I have down in Vero. He's friends with someone in Miami whose parents own a company that sells, um how do I explain this? So, like, Northrop Grumman, for example, or like NASA, will have some type of generators to create electricity on their campus, right?
Mhm.
Or you just wire yourself into the city grid, right? Or the city installs some type of power plant thing on your company property
Yeah.
and you pay them your electrical bill every month, right? These people sell you the equipment so that you install it and do it yourself, and then you don't pay the government anymore. It's like renewable fuel
Okay.
type of stuff, right?
Hmm.
And so their clients are like a Northrop Grumman or an NASA, like big companies that would save a lot of money every year if they could use renewable fuels and not have to pay the city an electric bill, right?
Yeah.
And so my friend who knows the guy who's a part of this company reached out to me yesterday because he was like, "Hey, he was trying to explain this to me, and like, I just want to see what you think of it." And so like I kind of read through their like business proposal, and it's the first time I've read through like a business pitch for like an energy company.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like blindly feeling my way through it with him, and we were figuring it out together. Um, and he was like, "Yeah, well, we get commission if we help find clients, customers."
Oh, yeah.
Like Northrop Grumman. And I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I was like, "Well, I don't know who to even start talking to at Northrop Grumman about it. I don't know if there's anything to do with like security because like we have classified stuff on site or what." So like I can make no guarantees about Northrop Grumman, but I'm interested from a business perspective about how this works and how you find your clients. Um, and so I was like, we should talk to this guy and get a better understanding of like how the business operates. Because now I'm curious, like, what does your ideal client look like? What is their net revenue per year? What did they do? So this company I have seen from the documents that they gave my friend um, in 2022 and 2023, their gross was like 3 billion. So they're like a big company.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah.
Jeez.
And he was like, yeah, this
I wonder how
guy.
many sales that is.
I don't know. I know it.
It's like
I
10 sales
dude, I have
for
no
like
idea.
300 million each.
Well, so I told him, I was like, "Can we just, like, hop on the phone with this guy so I can have a better understanding of what he's looking for? Because like, I don't wanna go barking up the wrong tree or wasting any time on anything,
Yeah.
if I can't help him." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll send you his number and we can set up, like, dinner sometime." And I was like, "Yeah, call works too." And so I texted him and, he was like I was like, "Hey, I'd like to call sometime." And he was like, "Sure, when works for you?" And I was like, "Tomorrow." And he was like, "Cool." And so, like, we set it up like that.
Yeah.
I like people that work fast like that. So,
Yeah.
that our call is tonight, and I'm excited to get to see,
Oh, cool.
like, what's going on. Yeah. Um,
Nice.
so I'll share those learnings on to here so long as I can share everything. And then one of my last life updates is in the world of Formula One. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Racing is a huge part of our podcast and us.
Mhm.
I watch Formula One religiously. You watch it sometimes, but I tell you about it, so it's basically like you watch it. But right now, there's the craziest title run ever happening right now, and I told you about it a little bit, but I'm gonna reiterate it for the podcast.
Mhm.
Um, because I've mentioned it before, like, as this season has gone on, Max has currently won 4 world championships, right? Um, there's kinda like a narrative going on about how, like, he got lucky in 2021 and Lewis was robbed, and then he had the
Oh, yeah.
fastest car in 22 and 23 and 24, and so, like, you know, even though in the back half of 2024 he did not have the fastest car, but he still won by, like, a sizable margin, people still like, the haters are still gonna hate, right? So they
Right.
still are like, "Ah, he's not shit," right? This season, McLaren have had the most dominant car, like, by far and away. McLaren have 1-2'd, I think, more times in this season than any other season a constructor has gotten a 1-2 finish, right? They won the championship, the team championship with, like, I don't know how many races to go. I think with, like, 6 races or 7 races to go, they won the championship. So, like, McLaren is super dominating right now. Max is fucking nowhere. The Red Bull isn't even just the 2nd fastest car, it's, like, probably the 5th fastest car. It
Right.
fucking blows. But he still managed to eke out, like, 2 or 3 wins this year, right?
Yeah.
So we go into the summer break. McLaren are gonna be team champions in, like, a race or 2. It's a matter of time. And everyone starts looking at, okay, if Max is out of the title run and Mercedes and Ferrari aren't fast enough, it's going to be one of the 2 McLaren drivers. How are McLaren going to handle this? Because there seems to be a team feel of everybody loves Lando and everyone's kind of like, it doesn't really care about Oscar as much. Even though Oscar right now is faster and has like a commanding championship lead, they're still pulling shit where it's like, Oscar, we want to pit Lando first to protect him from the Ferrari from taking his podium. But
Mhm.
like, that means that he's going to come out on track before you and then like he has to let you pass. Are you okay with that? Like they're tampering, right? And they haven't reached in and been like, you know, don't race each other, finish in this order. It hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it has gotten to the point where there's enough interference that people are like, boo, McLaren sucks. This isn't an interesting championship, right? Um, and so we went into the summer break, and McLaren were so confident that one of their drivers are going. I mean, everybody was confident, but McLaren was so confident they had each of their drivers sit down and write a speech for if they win and, like, be like, "I'm so grateful to McLaren to win, respect to my fellow teammate," and then a speech if they lost, like, "Oh, like, I you guys
They're
are
both
awesome."
gonna read the loss speech.
Dude, so they each and like, Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren, was like, "Yeah, we're gonna cover all our bases, and we're gonna make sure that they're each like, it's respectful and clean and it's fair," right? And so we came back from the summer break, and Max won in Monza. But Monza's a tricky track because it's a low downforce track. So as long as you can do really well on like the slow speed corner, one of them,
Yeah.
and then are fast on the straight, you can win. So like, you know, George Russell has snuck in a win for Mercedes here and there this year. It's Max has snuck in a win. It's not like crazy, right? And then they went to Azerbaijan, which is a street track, right? And then Max won there. And everyone was like, "What? What's going on?" And then they went, and Oscar had a really bad weekend there. He DNF'd. He
Mhm.
jumped the start and then hit the wall on lap 1 and knocked himself out of the race.
Yeah.
Then they went to Singapore, which is like Max's bogey track. Like the one race that he didn't win in 2023, or the one race that Red Bull didn't win, is Singapore. Max got like 7th, right?
Yeah.
But he's been slowly getting better. In 2023, he got like 5th or 7th. In 2024, he got like 5th or 4th. And then last year he got 2nd. And then this year he was about to put it on pole when coming into the last corner, Lando Norris had disturbed the air in front of him and he bailed out of the lap.
Yeah.
And he wound up finishing 2nd in the race. You can just knock him off if you get sick of him.
Come
If you
here,
don't want him
buddy.
sitting there.
Tearing up my suit.
Yeah,
You can sit next to me.
he's gonna do that. He's the worst.
Oh,
He's orange.
there you
So
go, buddy.
so so Max got 2nd in Singapore, and everyone's like, "Whoa! If Max can get 2nd in Singapore, this is actually on."
Yeah.
So then we went to the Austin Grand Prix in Texas this weekend, and everyone's like, "It's a sprint weekend, meaning there's more points up for grabs. What's gonna happen, right?"
Right.
So to set the scene here, in modern Formula One, when you win a race, you get 25 points. P2 is 18, P3 is 15, and then it's a 2 point down to like
Yeah.
12, 10, 8, so on down to 10th, right? So if you finish outside the top 10, you don't get any points. In 2022, Max Verstappen set the record for the biggest comeback to win a championship, overcoming a 46-point deficit at race 3 of 22 to become world champion. So he was 46 points down really early on in the championship, right?
Mhm.
At race 15 of 24 this year, Max was 104 points behind the championship leader. So over double the previous largest gap that anyone's overcome. And in race 15 instead of 3, right? So like everyone's written Max off at this point. McLaren have their drivers writing the speeches. It's pretty much a guarantee that the McLarens are going to finish 1, 2. It's just like, what order are they going to finish in? That's the intrigue, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's sick of it. It's not intriguing at all because McLaren keeps tampering to try to make it fair, and it fucking sucks, right? He won the sprint race in Austin after putting it on sprint pole. Max and Lando crashed out of the race. Then Max put it on pole for the main race without even getting to set a second lap in Q3, and then won the race from pole. And Oscar finished 5th and Lando finished 2nd. So the gap now going into race 20 of 24, the gap is at 40 points. So he's brought it down from 104 to 40 in the last 4 races.
Oh, so he's like damn close.
He is fucking booking it, dude. And
Yeah.
if
Wow.
Oscar and Lando don't get their shit together, he will catch them. So like the the way that the way that people are talking about this is like, is Max in total control of his own destiny? Because if Max wins every race for the rest of the season, and Oscar gets P2 every race for the rest of the season, Max loses by 3 points. Meaning if Oscar has a bad weekend next weekend and he falls more than that 3 points behind, it doesn't matter what Oscar does, so long as Max wins everything else, he'll be champion. That's like how the way
Yeah.
people are framing it, right? But what's crazy about this is that it almost doesn't even matter if he can do it or not, because the fact that we're even talking about it right now, everyone is realizing, oh, Max didn't get lucky in 2021. Max didn't just have the fastest car in 22, 23, and 24. Max is like a different breed. Like he's all the naysayers and now starting to see what everybody else has been seeing for the last several years,
Right.
right? And they're waking up to it. But it's so great to see because now everybody hates McLaren for tampering. And now everybody, as much as you like the McLaren drivers or not, because like it's not really the McLaren driver's fault that McLaren is tampering with the championship. Now everyone is like, I want to see Max do something incredible. And he's doing something incredible. I mean, 104 to 40. He's already built back 64 points,
Mhm.
which is already more than the previous largest gap.
Right.
So even if he doesn't win this championship, it's still the largest points overhaul in F1 history that's already happened. So like we've
Yeah.
already seen history be made, but there is huge potential for this to be like the most historic F1 season of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. They go to Mexico this weekend, which is like usually a Max track. So like everyone is like on tenterhooks waiting to see like, is McLaren going to have pace? Is McLaren going to back one driver? Because Lando's behind Oscar. Oscar's first right now, 40 points ahead of Max.
Mhm.
Then Lando's 32 points ahead of Max. So like they can't fully back Lando, who has the momentum right now, because Oscar's technically ahead, but they don't want to back Oscar because although he has more points, he doesn't have much momentum right now.
Right.
So like McLaren are kind of stuck sitting around with their dicks in their hand, and Max is just like haunting them down. So I wanted to put a word out there because this is crazy, and I will be talking about this again. But I'm so engaged and I love it so much. But okay, that's my life update, except for my last point, which is that I have my gift for you.
Okay, buddy, it's time for you to go this way. We
Yep.
rotate, and then you can be there.
Rotate.
How does that sound, buddy?
Okay, so let me go grab it.
We're having a momentary pause in podcast performance.
It's okay. This is all planned. Okay. So, this gift, I'll give you a little bit of backstory first, right?
Uh-huh.
Let me make sure that this looks right.
I'll turn it.
Yeah, that's good.
It was okay.
Okay. So this gift is I wanted to get you a gift for Christmas last year, right? I didn't have a good idea. By February, I had a good idea, but it was like $90. And like February, March this year, I was like, I might have to sell some assets to make rent. So I didn't buy it. I held off. And then I was like, I'm just going to put that money toward like a bigger gift for like birthday, Christmas this year. Because I found, what are you doing? Get out of here, Orange. I found a way better gift, but that's like $500. And so I was like, I'm going to wait and I'm going to do that for Christmas this year. But then your birthday came and I was like, fuck, I've got to get him something for his birthday. And then you got me the races at OKC and I was like, perfect. I'll just get him races at OKC.
That
so
was
we
the
can go,
goal.
we can go together. That was the goal, right? And then I had this idea because I was like, I'm going to get you a birthday gift. And then I want to get you a gift to commemorate quitting your job because that's a huge milestone in your business and your life.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get you a Christmas gift. And so I was like, fuck it. Last Christmas, this birthday, and your congrats on quitting your job gift. I'm gonna pool all the money into one, right?
Cool.
So that's what this is. So this is a congratulations for quitting.
Yeah.
This is a congratulations for quitting your job and taking the leap gift, funded by all the other gifts.
Awesome.
This gift comes with rules. The first rule is you cannot ask me how much it is,
Okay.
like how much it costs, because that's not what this gift is about. It's about
No problem.
me supporting you, not how much it costs. And you also can't ask me where I got it from, because that's going to give away how much I paid.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Got it. Can I ask what countries it had to come from?
Japan and Europe,
Okay, cool.
is where I bought it from. They're not all originally from there.
Okay, got it. Cool.
But this is part one,
Okay.
and there's one big thing in there, so you can't miss it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
So read it out loud for the
Yeah, sorry. Designed for the disciplined, not the distracted. Graceless response to consistency. The life you want won't come from comfort. It comes from the days you show up when you don't feel like it. This key represents the price of greatness, the patience, the sacrifice, the work done in silence. It doesn't belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most disciplined. The ones who stay focused, the ones who refuse to give up. That's awesome.
So I found this, and then I was like, this isn't as special as I want it to be. And so then I upped the ante. And
What?
this is real, genuine. That's a Ferrari F40 ignition key.
No shit.
It's genuine.
Really?
And then I installed the hooks in that so you can hook it on there and display it.
Oh, that's what you modified.
Yeah.
Whoa.
These are not easy to find.
I've never even seen one.
It's a folding key. It's got a little
Yeah,
bolt there,
I know.
so you can fold that.
Wow. No kidding.
Mhm.
Wow, that's cool.
It's tough to even find photos of these to make sure.
I've never.
To make sure I was looking.
Yeah.
Do you know that the blue F40 that used to be owned by that British guy?
Yeah.
I had to watch one of his videos doing like a POV drive of the car and watch him put the key in the ignition to make sure that the keys I was shopping around for were the right kind of key. Because there's also a different ignition key that was used in the 288s that's different than the F40, but people
Yeah.
confuse them. But this is a real F40 key,
Wow.
verified.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
Dude, absolutely. Congratulations.
Wow. A super cool gift.
So there's also an acrylic piece in here that I just wrapped in tissue
Oh, got
paper.
it.
It's got a sticker on it, so it's not going to get all smudged up. But
Oh, is it
yeah,
like
let
the
me show you
cover?
the frame,
Okay.
and then hand me the key. And I'll show you how it hooks on there because I had to kind of do this. So you just hook it on like this, and then it rolls around like that, and then it hangs it.
Ah, perfect.
There's two hooks there to keep it vertical
Cool.
instead of like hanging at an angle. And so to get that acrylic piece in there, you can either leave it open if you want, but
Yeah.
you just unfold these back prongs
Okay.
and then pull
Yeah.
this out, and then you just put, and then this is a separate piece as well. So you just pull everything out and then put the acrylic in and then put everything back together. It's not
Yeah.
hard. You'll figure it out. But I left it open so that you could hang the hook on the key on the hook. Um, and then you can leave the
Got it.
acrylic out if you want to take it out or whatever. Yeah.
That's
Congratulations.
awesome, man. This is like really, really friggin' cool.
I thought so.
Yeah, I want to hold the key again.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's freaking cool. Wow, that's awesome.
I thought so.
Makes you want to fucking work, dude.
That's why I got it for you. I was like, what's the best thing I can get to commemorate this? And then I was like, I'm sure that it's gonna suck. And even if Q4 goes well, there's still gonna be like
Oh yeah,
late nights where you're gonna want to not do shit. But if this is hanging like behind your computer,
yeah,
then that will keep you going.
yeah. 100%. Very cool.
So what's your
Well,
business update
thank
this
you,
week?
thank you.
Yeah.
Let's take a pause. I want to grab a drink,
Yeah, sure.
chill for a moment,
Yeah, no
and
problem.
we'll pick back up.
All right. What is your business update this week?
Yeah, so we took a little pause in the podcast. Incredible gift. Mason always gives the best gifts. The gift he got me last year. He got me this Senna watch, which I've worn quite literally every day. I think outside of maybe 2 days. I forgot it one day on the podcast.
The day you
So-
talked about it on the podcast, I think.
Yeah, literally,
Yeah, it's the
literally
one
that day.
Yeah.
And one other day to work, I believe. But like literally, I've worn this watch every single day other than that. So
I'm glad you
yeah,
like it.
yeah, always awesome gifts. This watch has worked on flight hardware for the Artemis program with me. It's been in the core stage with me. They actually let you wear this in the core stage if you put a little piece of tape over it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so you got like this like orange tape that's like safety tape, and
Mhm.
then you just like it's
Wrap
like
it around.
yeah, you just wrap it
Sure it doesn't
around.
fall
So
off.
yeah, this watch has seen all the engine section of the Artemis 2 core stage, and
Yeah. It's
So-
my way of saying I believe in you.
thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome, awesome gift. In terms of my like way less cool business update. I mean, I got a lot of stuff, but less cool than that.
You wouldn't have gotten that gift without business updates.
That is a fair point.
Right.
That is a fair point. But what I got is that the the branding is not launched yet. So it is really funny. I honestly I worked my tail off this week trying to get it to launch yesterday at midnight.
That's why we're podcasting today.
And the branding person I'm working with also worked really, really hard and actually went way above and beyond expectations for what I thought. And so there was a lot of stuff that went on this week. One part of my week is the main portion of my week, honestly, in regards to all of my week was branding stuff, but the main portion within the branding stuff was the website building that she did a really nice job with the website build. It looked really, really good. There was a couple things that she wanted visually in the website, and she didn't quite know how to do it on the coding side. Because like essentially my goal was to be like operations, how can I make all of the back end work as well as possible so that when you go to design it, it flows perfectly, right? That was my goal.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, like we want X, Y, and Z things. And there's nothing in Shopify that will allow us to do that through the general theme. And so I'm not kidding you, I woke up, this was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday,
Mhm.
I worked on this. Wednesday when I woke up, I got up around 9, something like that, maybe 10. I think I got up later Wednesday. That day, yeah, I woke up later that day. From 10 a.m., I didn't leave. I left the house once. I worked until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus Christ.
It gets worse. I then woke up the next day at 9 a.m. I went to bed at 7:30 in the morning the next day, and I didn't leave the house that day.
That's
I
crazy.
sat on the laptop
Yeah.
or on
Oh,
my
on
computer
computer.
for over 22 hours that day, just doing this.
Mm.
And then Friday, I woke up that day and continued doing it. Luckily, I was done by like 2 a.m. that day. But still,
Full day. Still
pretty
full
much a
day.
40-hour work week in the span of like 3
3
days.
days. Yeah.
Yeah. Just on this one thing. And like, keep in mind, this isn't like, y- I don't like coding.
So how long would this have taken you if you hadn't have quit your job?
Weeks,
Right.
weeks. And that's
And
something
not
I was
all
say about this week.
right.
Um, and so it would have been impossible. And
Mm.
I mentioned that to the brain person. I'm like, I'm so glad that I don't have other obligations at this point because literally the volume of stuff that we are trying to do and the timeline that we are trying to achieve it in would have been physically impossible for me to do being at work.
Right.
It just like literally, if I didn't sleep, there still would have not been enough time.
Right.
And so what some of the coding that was involved is I had to, obviously with the help of ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is so with a hard thing. I broke 4 chats in ChatGPT doing this coding.
What
To
do you
the
mean you broke it? Like it would
So
just
I
out
got
of load?
it wouldn't no longer load.
I hit that after like 2 weeks using one chat. Eventually it takes so long to load, I just got
Yeah,
a new one.
I hit 4 in 3 days.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, and my messages were big sometimes because I was including documents and files and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that has to do with it as well.
Yeah.
But like the Shopify or the ChatGPT is really good at getting you a baseline framework that should work.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of iterations to get a framework that works correctly.
Got it.
And to get that, you have to give it as much information as possible. So I'm sitting there downloading
Yeah.
massive coding files from the website, giving it to ChatGPT, going to the page preview, and this is another thing I had. Like sometimes you click a wrong button on a web page and you get that inspect code on the side, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Ah, this scares me," and then you X out of it.
The
That's where I
expected
lived.
thing.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
And so going through those line items, I would have to give ChatGPT, it would be like, what is this? What are these 5 things? What are their specific like assigned variables within the actual code? Because I couldn't see it properly through the original code. So I'd have to go to the preview page, give it those exact variables, then get it back to it, like, and then iterate, right? So this process was really, really tough. But
Do you have all of your coding done?
it is done at this point.
Fuck. I I know a guy from the bar. His name is Josh. He's always there. He's got the little black dog. He brings the little bell
Oh
for his
yeah.
dog.
Yeah, I have his number too. I should have thought of it.
He's a great guy, super nice. Sits in programs all day.
Mhm.
He actually has essentially the system that DoorDash uses, where you make an order on the DoorDash website, they find a driver and then deliver to you. He has that for other businesses, and he made it all himself,
Oh,
the app and
wow.
everything. But he's helping me with some real estate stuff, and he's told me that he'll just do my website when I'm ready to have a real estate website.
Mhm.
And all he does is code. So I fucking wish I had thought of him because he could have done all of
I
that
know him
for you.
too. I don't know why.
Well, next time you
Yeah.
have to do something, like I'm sure you'll have to do different website stuff in the future, or you want to do something different. If you pay him, he'll do it fast.
Yeah.
So you have to pay, but he'll do it fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I did it. And I got it done. Some of the file types that are just like for like future me reference. Maybe I'll get more into coding. I don't know, but CSS files, which are essentially like how does it, how does it look when it loads?
Mhm.
Essentially, is like a display style file. JS files, which are like JSON files. I still don't know what they do, but they help with something, and I had to create them and edit them. And then liquid files, which from what I've gathered are essentially like a very modern code that is essentially it doesn't really care about like spacing or like stuff like that. and it kind of reads in a more like normal language, like you and I would talk, right? But I mean, obviously you have a lot of variables in there, but it's a little bit more fluid in that sense.
Right. It's easier to understand.
Yeah, a little bit looser in that sense. So, those are some of the file types I had to work with. But some of the stuff I wanted was, you saw the site briefly, like I sent you the preview, right?
Yeah.
On the homepage there was the banner on the homepage. So one of the things I did was that banner, when you extended it out to a large desktop, it wouldn't render all the way, and it would kind of like jump fill
Got
a little bit. I didn't like that, so I recoded that banner.
it. Right.
Another thing I did was the About Us page on there. You would scroll, and it had these nice bubbles that like talked about like about us and like who we are and stuff. And they did a really nice movement thing. Like as you scroll down, like it looked nice. What I really wanted for mobile specifically is that when you got to that page and you scroll down, I wanted those bubbles to fade in and then stay and then fade out at the top of the screen. And I wanted each bubble to do that as it came up through the screen.
Got it.
I wanted to kind of like fade in and then out when it
Yeah.
got out of the page, because to give it just that like little bit of dynamic twist.
Yeah.
Um,
It makes it seem less like you're scrolling through Craigslist and more like you're on a pause.
yeah, and it kind of keeps you going because you're like, oh wow, there's stuff next, right? And so I wanted just that little touch in there. And so that's something that I coded in to the website successfully. Another thing was slight modifications and tweaks to the collections page. It wasn't quite fitting correctly, and so tweaking with that. And then one other thing was the email pop-up on mobile looked good when it would pop up. But on desktop, for whatever reason, the bubble that you fill in your email was shifted to the left, like it had a left margin that was sticking in.
Got it.
And you couldn't change it just through settings in Shopify. And so I ended up recoding that bubble so that it centers itself. And then, but like when you like, for example, when you think about the email bubble, right? Like you have this little bubble, and then inside it says, add your email here. And then when you click on it, that little verbiage then shrinks and goes to the top of that bubble, right? And then when you type, like a nice aesthetic bubble, right?
Right.
But all that stuff, once you move that bubble, it's not just moving the bubble, right? You're moving the bubble
And
visually. You're moving where you input visually so that it's centered.
Right.
You're inputting the margins within the bubble. You're changing the way that that center text displays when you're not typed in, and then you change how that center text goes into the smaller area, right? And then you have to make sure that all works together.
Right.
And it also renders properly, right? And so that's just like a bubble, right? So it's like this, like once you get into the nitty gritty of it, you realize like, oh, there's a lot more than like click and drag.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was the easy stuff. The hard stuff came in where the variant selector on the website originally was like a colored dots. And
So a variant selector is picking what color of the
products
you want.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so originally that product selector or variant selector was on desktop. It was in the right column, and then your add to cart was on the bottom, or it was in the left column, and then your add to cart and buy buttons were on the bottom right.
Got it.
And that was okay for desktop. The problem is that once you went to mobile, that right stuff would stay at the top because that's where all your product pictures and stuff was, and this would drop down low.
Yeah.
And
So you're
you had
paying
to
and then picking your products.
scroll
Yeah.
to pick and then scroll back up to add. And I was like, people are gonna get lost with this. I missed it. And it's like, if I'm missing it, like people are gonna miss it for sure, right?
sure.
Like I gotta be at least like within the 50% margin of people who get confused by websites. So it's like if I'm getting confused, at least 50% are probably getting confused too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I really want the variant selector above the add to cart. And initially what I did was I went through, it was very troublesome to code because those two, well, that left and right side, first they shift like this, but then they're also separate segments within Shopify. And so traditionally in Shopify, you can't take anything over here and make it appear over here. Like it just doesn't work.
Right.
And so what I did originally was I mimicked the variant selector I have on my current website where you click on it, and then you select a color, and then you select a quantity, and then you add to cart. And it was kind of like bubbles, right? Where it would say pink or blue. It would verbally say that, right? And I liked it, and I presented it, and the branding person was like, "Yes, this is really good,
But have the colors in that.
but if you could have the color pickers in there, that'd be super sweet." And so I was really struggling with it. Like it was very challenging to get right.
Right.
And so I got it to a point where it was like I also agreed. I was like, "Yeah, this isn't quite right." Um and so what I decided, because what I did initially to approach it was, how can I turn off the variant selector over here and then custom code in a variant selector for the right side?
Right.
And so I completely custom coded that in. I didn't try to move anything or anything like that because it was just too different to move.
Right.
Right.
But at that point, you have to do it from scratch.
Right. Yeah. So I did that from scratch. Right. And so I was looking at it, and one of the things I was struggling with too is because I had coded it in separately, I tried literally for 4, 5 hours to get it so that when you hit pink, the pink picture popped up. When you hit green, the green picture popped up.
Right.
That connection, I think, has a lot of other underlying factors within Shopify that make it incredibly challenging to connect those two. What I was able to do is get it to the point where it would technically select the picture, but it would blow it up full screen, and then you have to X out of it.
Got it.
Or I got it to the point where you would click the color and then it would select the picture, but because of the refresh that I had to add into the code in order to get that to happen, it didn't want to stop refreshing. So it would glitch back and forth between original and new, original and new, and original and new, and it would like flash.
Got it.
And so I spent like 4 hours just trying to solve that issue because I was like, man, I'm so close.
Right.
But I ended up axing that and going back to a base code that I had 6 hours prior because I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'll try this tomorrow.
Right.
And so then I got there. I was talking with the brain person. I was like, you know what? And I was thinking on a fresh head, and I was like, you know what? I bet I could code in through CSS through the display file to move that variant selector over
To the right.
to the right, and
Okay.
I could capitalize on the variant selector already being integrated into Shopify, so that and that would allow me to retain the image selectability when I select a color,
Okay.
right? And that's what my hope was I move this over, I retain the back end code side of things that connects to the images, and I just move the display over so that it looks like it's on the right side
Right.
and the quantity selector is there. That's what I ended up doing. My theory ended up working.
Oh, good.
The hardest part was just getting it to look right, right? Because once you move all that stuff, you have the name, you have this font size, you have the spacing, you have the spacing of the actual variant selectors, you have the quantity selector, which I still had to custom code in, right? So I retained the custom code from the quantity selector that I made, but then when put alongside the variant picker, they had to correlate. And then I got it working within a couple hours, and I was like, oh, sick. Then it got really challenging because I wanted it, regardless on what size screen you have, that the spacing retains in relative to the add to cart and buy buttons,
Right.
and that when you get to mobile, at a certain point, they switch
Mm.
so that they're one over the other. So you don't have this like super crammed mobile
You've
view,
got to
right?
scroll. Yeah.
Right? And so I wanted it all on one page. I wanted it nice and clean. I wanted it stacked on mobile. I wanted it horizontal on desktop.
Right.
And so that process, I eventually got it to work. It's it's so good. I'm
Thanks.
so happy with it.
Good.
So that was one of the harder things that I had to code. And then on top of that, I have a separate cart app that I use for the rebranding because my goal is to launch the current website with the current cart app and the current reviews against the rebranded version with a rebranded cart, like a cart system, and a rebranded reviews to match the new aesthetic and theme. So I got separate apps for each website. And so the cart app that I got for the rebrand is good cart app. I previously had integration issues with it because of my Shopify template that I currently have is cracked code. And so I had integration issues, but I was like, I know this app, like I know it's good. I know it's super customizable. I'll go with that. It ended up being very customizable. It was not customizable enough for the vision that was outlined.
Got it.
So like so the cart that originally was on the page was from the template itself, but and it looked really good. The problem I had with it was it didn't have any upsell offer. So like you couldn't upsell at the bottom of the screen. There was just a couple things that like it wasn't it wasn't advanced enough for me to integrate the potential things down the line or the upsell offers I at least want to integrate initially. And so I ended up going with the card app, and that card app alone in the card app to get it to look right and get like the picture bubbles to look right and get the banner at the top to look right
Right.
and to get, the upsells to work correctly. And also on this, all custom fonts too, because our rebranding has a custom font incorporated into it.
Yeah.
So incorporating that into it, and then font sizes, colors, right? And then
You have to
also
code all that in.
code all that in. And also, I forgot to mention this, encoding all this stuff in Shopify and the card app, and what I'll get to is the reviews app. I wanted to retain functionality within Shopify. So I wanted it so that, yes, this variant selector looked different on the page. It loaded differently in the preview. It loaded differently while you're editing. Like, it looked native, like it looked
Right.
cool, right? But I wanted that if you didn't know anything and you went into Shopify and you said, I want to change this variant selector color, that when you change that color, it changed that color on the page. And you didn't have to go back into the back end coding and change the color there.
Got it.
I didn't want to have to do that. I wanted it to be through the Shopify template. And so I got it to that point, and the card app doing the same thing, right?
Sweet.
And so getting it to the point where you can go into the store and not know anything about what's going on in the back end of things. And you can change stuff, and the coding I have works perfectly with it and retains all my code, and also integrates whatever changes happen on the front end of the Shopify template. Like, that's a whole nother layer, right? Because you can go in and manually code like color here, color this, size this, right? But I wanted it, right? I wanted it to connect for the stuff that could connect, right?
Right.
And so I got the card app. The card app alone was 700 lines of code.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Dude.
The variant selector was, I didn't count, but I had several new files that had to be incorporated. That it has to be over 1,000 or 1,500 lines of code.
It's a lot of code.
Yeah, and that's just those two things, neglecting everything else, right?
Right.
And then the reviews app, I also did some custom coding to get that to look correctly as well, just how I want it, right? But that one was actually relatively easy. It was very, very close to what I wanted, and so it was relatively easy to just change the small things.
Got it. So that's the section on your website where people can go read reviews.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. And so that whole stuff was a large portion of my week.
Right.
Dealing with that, going from I don't even know how to access the code to me going in and recoding several challenging variables.
So is it accurate to say that the dynamic here is the marketing advisor having a really clear vision but not knowing how to execute it, and then your role was executing that and figuring out the way to make it come to life?
Yeah, and also giving her the flexibility to be able to come in and go, actually, I don't like that color, and then she can change it easily and it still work.
Got it.
Right.
And that's extra that you did to make sure that she could do that. Whereas otherwise she would just have to ask you to change it.
I tried my very best to do that. The only things that you have to go into the back end code to change that can't be done through the Shopify template are things that are traditionally not able to be done through the Shopify template.
Got it.
For example, if I want to change the spacing of this word over the variant picker, Shopify doesn't allow that to begin with. So if you want to change that spacing, it has to be done through the back end.
Got it.
Code, right? But for this other stuff, it was that was my goal, essentially. And so in addition to that, the original premise was that she was going to create one video advertisement for me and a grid of 9 social media posts.
Okay.
She ended up creating 2 video advertisements for me.
Okay.
Both really good. We had some back and forth on the edits, I was like, oh, what about this? And she was like, oh yeah, but also what about this? And so we went around a little bit and cleaned it up. 2 video advertisements that are ready to post with descriptions, done, ready to launch.
Sweet.
13 social media grid posts.
So talk me through a grid post.
So a grid is at a base level is when you go to the Instagram page, right? It's a 9x9, or sorry, a 3x3 of 9 images that at least show hey, we're real. And we're
so it's 9.
We're breathing. We're not a bot.
Right. It's 9 individual social media posts.
Yes, 9. So she ended up creating 13.
Got it.
I guess 2 of them technically are the ads, so you could say 11 posts, 11 unique posts,
Still more than 9.
right, with descriptions.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, something that you may have noticed on the product page, it had a little video box that was blank.
Okay.
Um,
I can't recall.
yeah, no, you're good. That video box was going to link to a YouTube video of the product that she was gonna make, so
Sweet.
that people could, like, click that little button, it would display the little YouTube video and play it.
Yeah.
She did a amazing job with the YouTube videos, knocked it
Sweet.
out of the park, and she did it. This was another thing.
So
Oh,
do you also have a YouTube channel?
so now I have a YouTube channel
Cool.
as well. And so on top of all this, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all rebranded and reformatted to the new branding,
Cool.
right? Because I'm essentially putting my eggs as a slight priority in that basket because I see it as long term much better at the very least, right? And so
What do you mean by the eggs in that basket?
if the rebranding doesn't perform well, I have to reassess.
Got it.
As of right now, I'm going under the assumption that the rebranding will at least work as well, if not better than the current site, and therefore I'm rebranding social medias in order to correlate with that rebranding in anticipation that I will go to that model
Yeah.
in the next few weeks.
I think it's probably a good bet to jump in with both feet in it. I think it's one of those things where it's better to commit than to fence it and then not really know. If it doesn't work, is it not working because your social media doesn't align to it? You know,
Yeah.
it's like do all of it, and then if it's not working as well, at least you'll know that you didn't like try to like
Yes.
A/B test
And so
your social media.
the split test will be really interesting.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to play the split test by ear. If there's a discrepancy that's shocking, I have to turn off the split test early, and then I have to figure out kind of because like I mentioned like a bonus thing for her, like if it does really, really well. And so I'll have to figure out the numbers and the math on that side of things to kind of like I'll figure that out if I need to.
Right.
But I'll kind of play it by ear, but social media grid she completed and made. And then the YouTube videos made as well.
Sweet.
They look really, really good. Um, and so we had a couple edits back and forth. I think she's actually working on them now, as well. But that was some of the stuff. That was a lot of the stuff I did this week. Was going through, helping her with that, editing stuff, going into IntelliGems and actually making sure that all this stuff is going to line up right. One of the other tricky things is that when I integrate this card app and this review app to a draft version on Shopify, I have to make Shopify think not only through because IntelliGems will publish it live, but Shopify will still think it's a draft. The problem is that the review apps and the cart apps, when you link them to a draft, they don't think that they're live. And there's no way through IntelliGems to get them to think that they're live and working. So I had to code in and integrate those apps through custom code so that they actually work on a draft version of the site.
Got it.
And so that was, a little bit trickier as well. But the launch plan as of right now is a Wednesday night or Thursday 12 a.m.
Got it.
That is the launch plan right now, and it's looking really good for that. I put the test in a preview mode in IntelliGems. It worked. We're just sprucing up a couple small things on the YouTube videos, and then going to do an in-depth Q&A on the website to ensure that everything works properly. And then I have to go in and change the URL link names because I labeled them with the branding person's name so that she could easily identify where she was working.
Right.
I have to go in and redo all that on the back end. And then on my email marketing, I still have to change the logo. I thought of that at about 5:30 in the morning last night, and I was like, I'm just gonna put this on a whiteboard and deal with it tomorrow. So
yeah.
that's some of the stuff I did then. And then the social media grid is gonna get changed out Wednesday before it launches.
Got it.
So I'll change that out and I'll archive the current posts I have on there. That was a lot. That was all of the branding stuff I have, but I do sadly have more business update.
Sweet, dude.
But kind of broad strokes, what I'm looking at is I've decided on a framework for testing the UGC content that I'm going through and iterating. Right now, I'm iterating a bunch of creator advertisements in order to give Meta a large volume of material to work with for a variety of different angles and people to give myself the highest probability of finding another winning advertisement in a test campaign.
Okay.
I've decided that I'm going to be running that test campaign at $200 a day, which is a little bit high for a traditional test campaign, but a little bit low for the volume I'm putting out there. So I feel comfortable, at least as a starting point. If it doesn't convert at 200 a day, I got a problem.
Got it.
If it does sort of convert at 200 a day, I can assess. If it converts really well, I'll just friggin' scale up. Who
Right.
cares, right? Um, and then in addition to that, I'll be launching with higher definition UTMs. I have a UTM from the advertisement courses that I've gone through that's a little bit higher definition. I'm also going to work with ChatGPT to try and really, really refine that and get like a really super solid UTM.
So this
Just
should
as
give you more specific data.
yeah, a
Yeah.
UTM it'll latch on more effectively to the customer journey and track that more efficiently so that the data that gets fed back into my ads manager is more accurate.
Right.
Um, and so that's something that I'm working on or will be working on
Mhm.
as well. Creator advertisements. My goal is to launch those and the testing campaigns on the 27th of October.
So after the rebrand.
After it's slightly after because I haven't had any time to work on it
Right.
at all. Like all I've done is this stuff, and so I need time to finish that before I launch it.
Right.
And so there's gonna be a lot of work involved there as well.
I do think the rebrand's more important. So
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
the thing is like the rebrand has to take priority because if the rebrand really skyrockets, you want to capitalize on the largest amount of time that the rebrand is in the fourth quarter of the year,
Right.
and
Exactly.
so that's the priority,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then I will start creating my own after those launch on the 27th. I'll go back to working with the AI advertisements and also generating static advertisements like
Mhm.
photo advertisements.
Mhm.
That'll start on the 29th. So it gives me a couple day buffer as well,
Got it.
just in there. And I also want to go through some courses in regards to the fourth quarter of the year and advertising and promotional campaign planning.
Mhm.
That the advertisement courses that I work through currently, they put out some stuff for the fourth quarter. And
Got
so I want to be able to work through that at least before November starts. I mean, it's already a little bit later than I would have loved, but it's better than nothing. I mean, I think I'm probably doing a solid amount of work for like in comparison to like most people who
40
are
hour work week in
e-commerce.
3 days.
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing okay, but um yes, and then after that point, preparations for promotional campaigns as well as these new style advertisements that I'll be making will start on the 29th, and that plan I don't have scheduled yet because it will be pending on what I find in the courses that I go through.
Right.
Because they have some schedule templates and frameworks as well in there. And so I want to be able to look at those before I make a decision on dates and what stuff needs to get done when.
Right.
But at that point as well, based on the performance of the creator advertisements that I launch, as well as any personal advertisements that I make, I would like to have partnered advertisements made with creators, where essentially a partnered advertiser, it's like you ever seen the ads that are like, it's the main company and then with blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
and then it's like with a creator,
Right.
right?
Right.
Those style advertisements that pair my company with a creator, I'm looking to be incorporated somewhere in the middle of November. No,
Okay.
and that will be based and the reason I'm looking to launch that sort of stuff then is because the rebranding split test will be complete by then. I'll
You'll
have a
know.
verdict on the branding.
Right.
It will have a very consistent page and style and theme that people will know to look to,
Right.
and it will hopefully have more leverage coming into trying to partner with creators.
Right.
Right, and I'll be doing that through Incense, which is a platform I already paid, because I forgot to cancel, so fucking gonna use that. And, Meta also has a Meta marketplace, a Meta creator marketplace,
Okay.
where you can reach out to creators through the Meta platform. It's free to use the platform, but, you just pay the creator whatever they ask through, like, PayPal or whatever.
Right.
Meta doesn't monetize it internally, you have to pay them outside of it,
Got it.
which is kind of interesting.
So how do these creators what do the contracts look like with those creators? Do you pay them per video or do you pay them per duration of time?
It usually it depends on your offer. So you can offer something like one video. You could say like, "Hey, I want to work for 3 videos." I was watching some informational stuff, and the guy was like, "Have them record 2 bodies, and then have them record 10 hooks that work with all the bodies.
Got
That way, you can create 20 advertisements on your end of things. They're only making 10 hooks and 2 bodies.
Right.
You can pay for those. Then you can also like some select few that they really like. You can have them as partnered advertisements."
Right.
Where they actually input it's a different setting that they have to input and they have to approve it, and then you actually launch it under that partnership.
Got
So
it.
it's a slightly different method that you use. But I was looking at some of my tablet ads, and some of my tablet ads are actually pre-approved for partnership from a previous campaign that I ran.
Oh, cool.
So something that I'm going to be looking at within the next couple of weeks is just launching those
Hmm.
and just seeing how they perform, kind of to establish a little bit of a baseline in that respect.
So does Meta have good data for your tablets? I know it has more data for your gramophones.
Very little. I mean, I think I have about a grand or a grand and a half of spend across the tablet.
Okay,
So it's low. It's low.
got it.
Um, but I haven't launched the partnered advertisements because I didn't really realize it when I was initially doing the tablet. I was just launching ads that creators made for me, right? But like if you're scrolling and you see something that's like this company partnered with this creator,
Hmm.
it's a little bit more compelling. And I never tested that with the
Yeah,
tablet,
yeah.
right? And so that's something that I want to jump on, within the next couple of weeks, given that the rebranding is like I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel for the rebranding launch because
Yeah.
that's been just like all I've done is just sit at home and like work on this for like days and days. And in retrospect, yeah, it's not a very long time, but it's been a lot of like volume of stuff that has happened in that short period of time.
I was really impressed with the beta version that you sent me the other week in
Yeah.
comparison to the last time I had seen your website was when you were first offering the package to go alongside the, like, the list
Yeah.
of games that you can play or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And looking at the website in that configuration versus the one that I looked at for, like, less than 3 minutes on my phone, we spent a lot of time in the website or well, okay, a lot of time, probably, like, 45 minutes, uh,
Hmm.
on the old version, and then in only, like, a very preliminary 3-minute look on the new one. It was a significant improvement,
Yeah.
and as a consumer who goes on sketchy websites to find Ferrari keys, I I feel a high degree of trust with websites that feel more polished and more friendly. Like, I am way more likely to fall victim to a phishing scam if their website looks polished, like an Apple website, versus like a Craigslist or something.
Yeah. And I actually, so one of my lessons learned the other week was questioning the norm.
Mhm.
And that's something that I really felt this week because it's like, traditionally speaking, a vast majority of people out there are pretty much just like, just make better advertisements. The better the advertises, the better your site converts, the more sales you get, the more you can scale, the better you do.
Yeah.
And that works super well from a logical perspective. My thing is I'm selling to real customers and real people on the other end of the line. And I know that myself as a person like you, when I go to a website that feels more authentic and real,
Mhm.
then I have more trust in that website. That's just like a base level
R
establishment. And so I'm like, I don't really see a lot of people hopping on the branding train until they hit like way higher numbers,
right.
right? And then they try to go into this branding train and they encounter like all of these various issues. Um, and so it's like, if I'm really struggling to get advertisements that work, maybe I can make a brand that's really, really compelling
Right.
and kind of establish myself in that niche and then grow inside that niche.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of like the perspective that I'm taking on it. And we'll see how it goes. Right. Um,
Well, I think all the best brands start like they build the brand by branding first and then growing alongside it. It's
yeah.
it's
You
kind of
build the
like
brand around your customer, we're starting with the customer, and then you build in with your brand itself and how you market, and then you grow. Right.
waiting to make your brand until you're doing big numbers is like saying, "I'll start saving money when I'm wealthy."
Yeah. Yeah.
So the
And that
earlier you start, the better.
Yeah, that's kinda how I see it, and it's not really been recommended to me by anyone. Um, it's just something that I'm just too stubborn to let it go.
Mhm.
I genuinely believe that if the stuff that you have available for people to look at looks better, then people are naturally more compelled to want your stuff.
I agree.
Like, that's just a
It's
base level.
it's why I chose Blue Marlin over other brokerages because
Yeah.
other brokerages have resources. I think Blue Marlin's resources are better, but the biggest draw that made me even, like, consider is, like, when I saw their merchandise, I was like, "Oh, I'd really like to be wearing that," right? My koozie has it,
Yeah.
but they're without knowing anything about the quality of their work or the quality of their staff or whether they know what they're doing or anything apart from that,
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, dude, they've got, like, really cool, like, Yeti coolers, and they have fun advertisements, and I like the colors," right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like how, there's a saying in rowing, which is like, "A bad start won't or a good start won't win you the race, but a bad start could lose you one." It's kind of like how on a date, a good a good first impression won't get you laid, but a bad first impression could end the day right there, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that marketing or branding is the first impression of marketing.
Yeah.
Where if you have solid branding, you give yourself an opportunity. If you've got really bad branding or just lackluster branding, you don't even really give yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah. And I think one of the primary reasons I think that people don't talk too much about the branding side of things is it's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It is a lot easier for me to put out 20, 30, 40 advertisements and see which one converts the best because Meta will literally tell me.
Hmm.
For me to go through this process with someone who's in branding and then work through all these challenges and then figure out how to launch it so that it's parallel,
Hmm.
right? And so you can test it and then reform the branding to it. Like that is a process that's like way harder than just like creating iterative advertisements,
Right.
right? And so I think a lot of the thing comes down to is like something that I've thought about this week too is like doing the work that like other people hate doing and your competition hates doing. Because if your competition hates doing it, it's probably really hard. And probably the really hard thing will be the thing that really grows the brand or the business, right? And so like kind of thinking about it from that frame. And I stumbled on one video by accident. And I don't know if my algorithm listening to me and trying to like reaffirm my choices in life. It could be that. But like I stumbled on one guy who he was in an e-commerce space, but he worked with custom brands only and custom businesses. So like they fabricate something custom for you and then they ship it out. And it's that style of e-commerce, right?
Got
Where they're doing custom products.
got it.
And um he was talking about he had a quick video on drop shipping.
Hmm.
And he was like, I rag a lot on drop shipping because you don't have any control over the products and it's really, really challenging.
All you control is marketing.
All you control is marketing. And he said the best drop shipping companies that I've seen have been ones that have strongly branded into one niche,
Hmm.
then grown in that niche, and then use that capital in order to create a new product or improve their product in some way.
Right.
Right. And then grow from there. Starting with drop shipping as a base framework of like, let me test stuff, then branding it to a specific niche, then growing it, then revamping the product and actually branding the product to the company or improving different aspects of the product in order to scale to the next level.
Right.
And that he talked about that framework. He was like, this is the only time I've seen like drop shipping do crazy, crazy well long term.
Right.
And I was like, this is cool to hear because this is exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And like whether it's, just his opinion and it's all wrong, I mean, we'll find out in a week, right?
I think it's
Um,
less common because of exactly it's exactly what I'm going through with the listing launch thing in real estate right now. But how many hours of work have you put into the rebranding so far? All in all, estimate.
uh, probably probably 160 would be a conservative estimate.
How much money have you made from the rebrand?
0.
How many
I
hours
probably will have lost money, Yeah, I mean, I've spent money, so
how many hours does it take you to make an advertisement that will be profitable?
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean,
How about an advertisement that just converts regardless of profit?
oh,
Makes a sale.
yeah, I mean, it's some of that converts. I mean, you can do that in a day.
Less
Yeah.
than 160 hours, right? So it's doing
Definitely, yeah.
it's doing a lot of work that doesn't make you any money right now and has no guarantee of making you money later because it's something that customers only see after they go to your website, right?
Yeah.
And so the whole rebranding thing, unless you get someone who has heard of the brand before, then you build some recognition and thus trust, which is great.
Yeah.
The real function of rebranding is to get customers that have the ability like, have the willpower to go into your website to not lose them once they're there. Because once they get there, they go, "Oh, this is a comfortable space. I'm cool going through with this purchase," rather than going, "That's a neat product. What's the deal? Oh, this looks sketch. I'm getting out of here." Right?
Yeah.
And that is much less alluring than a hook rate that, hits 40% and then your CTR is really strong too. Like,
Yeah.
it's less alluring, but I think it's one of those things where if you take the time to invest in that, then it pays off in the long run.
That's really what I'm hoping for. And I think that, like you said, there's a strong argument for it. I think that um there's a lot of potential in the rebranding, and I think that the argument for it growing the business is compelling.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I was sitting there yesterday. I was like, I kept working last night. I just couldn't sleep, and I went to bed at like 6 or something like that. I don't know, something around there. And I was looking at it and I was testing it through IntelliGems and looking at it. I was like, oh man, it's like It's like that feeling of like you're rolling up to the start line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The race is about to start, and you're like, oh shit, they're gonna be sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was looking at it, and I was like, man, like this, if- even if this doesn't work, like this moment is really awesome.
Yeah.
Like just experiencing, like, oh man, like it's so close. This is right there. You know what I mean?
It's
That was really
taking
cool.
it's taking pride in your work regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's part of my thing was like why I spent so much time like doing the little custom code stuff too. Some of the stuff like she didn't even necessarily like notice or want, but like I thought I could make it a little bit better. And then after I did it, she was like, yeah, that is better.
Right.
Right. And like stuff like that. It's like I was thinking, I was like, man, if like I'm gonna go through all this friggin' work and all this process, I might as well make it perfect to the point where I don't know what else to do.
Right.
I might as well make it so damn good that like if it fails, like I really got to go back to the drawing board. It's not a question of like, oh well, what if I had done blank,
Right.
right? And so that's kind of the approach that I've had with it. And then something else that I did this week as a kind of final bow on things through all this stuff and all the promotional campaign preparation and the scheduling stuff that we have laid out and whatever. I'm looking to launch holiday products specifically on the new rebranded site by November 10th or 12th. That
Mhm.
should be when the split test is completely done by then.
Got it.
Because that averaging the current rate that it's averaging, I will hit 200 orders by the 7th. And so that gives me 3 to 5 days in order to launch holiday themed products within the branding style and theme that performs best.
Mhm.
And also, I already coordinated with my supplier for pricing on faster shipping so that I can add an upsell for expedited shipping for the holiday season if people so desire it.
Cool.
So I've coordinated that as well with my supplier.
How
And
fast is that expedited shipping?
um, like very consistently, 6 to 8 days worldwide.
Okay,
Like
that's not too bad.
very consistently.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, like occasionally you'll hit a 10.
Okay.
Like right now, if I get it between 6 to 12, like if I'm down to 6, like that's great,
Yeah.
right? Usually my US stuff is like 10 to 12.
I'm wondering if there's a quantifiable metric that you can look at. Here's my thinking. Have you ever seen that Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas movie where he's trying to get his kid the action figure that they want? Like
Yeah.
he's like fighting people in the mall
Yeah,
and shit.
I've seen clips of this on
People
TV. Yeah.
people wait until the last second to get gifts for Christmas. So I'm wondering if there's a benefit to ordering like a small number, maybe like 10 or 20, and then like upcharging people for faster shipping. Like you have them in the States, so you can get it to those people if they
Yeah,
pay extra expedited shipping within the
that's a
week
good
of
thought.
Christmas or
I
something
mean, I
like
could
that.
ship it out from my place. I
That's what I'm
could just
thinking.
order like, yeah, I mean, it would be cool if like, I bought like 40 of them and I put them all in my place and, split them up by whatever percentage is most common for that people buy. And then offer just like some crazy fast shipping time, like, you know, like a day.
Right.
And then charge like $25 for it or
I
something like
I
that.
think we talked about, Grace's sister and her fiancé having a warehouse in Vero where you can have stuff shipped to in, like, bulk and then offer lower shipping
Mhm.
times, which isn't really a drop shipping, then it's just retailing, right? But I don't know how the pricing, the profitability would work out over, like, selling all your products that way, but Christmas is one of those times where people are put under pressure to get something last second sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think that ordering a small batch of them could be worth it. And then even if you don't sell all of them in Christmas and you end up with like 20 of these boxes at your house, you could still offer the like extra money fast shipping and then just sell them slowly over time. Um that's an
Yeah.
option too.
Yeah.
Fun idea.
Oh, and on a note on that, as something that I did for this rebranding was for her to make the tablet and the wheel videos
Mhm.
and all the product photos and stuff like that. I overnighted those items separately
Mhm.
this past week as well. I sent them out from UPS at 5 p.m. on Monday.
Okay.
They were at her doorstep by 11 a.m. Tuesday
Wow. In Canada,
in Canada.
that's 18 hours?
Eh,
12 hours?
It's 12 plus
6?
6.
18
Yeah,
hours.
18
Yeah.
hours, yeah. Yeah,
That's fast, dude. That's stupid
fast.
fast.
And, so
Picture this. It's Christmas Eve, 5 PM. Someone puts an order in, and you can say, "I have it there for Christmas morning, right after breakfast,
Mhm.
11 a.m." That's a great turnaround time.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the tricks I wanted to mention, it's related to this, is um I got kind of a someone tipped me on to this site. I won't say like who or how because I don't want them to have negative repercussions.
Okay.
Um, but they tipped me on this site called pirateship.com,
Mhm.
and it's you can ship through UPS. You get a printed label at home, but it's literally like 20% of the cost. And
Oh,
it's an
really?
authentic UPS label. All you do is you input your box size, your box weight,
Mhm.
and then you can fill out for international stuff. You can fill out the customs form from the site
Oh.
and like do all your taxes and all that good jazz.
Mhm.
And then when you bring it to UPS, it's a UPS label or a FedEx label or whatever you want,
Mhm.
and you put it there, and then you track it through UPS. And if there's any problems, it's through UPS because it was purchased through UPS.
Interesting.
And so it's
So
literally like,
how does this company make their money? Do they just make how do they fake the labels?
well, they're not faking the labels, they're real labels. What I think they're doing is that they're essentially a label wholesale company. And it's
Mm.
like, remember when we were doing drop shipping, we had like the deal on shipping through Shopify
Yeah.
and it was like really, really cheap,
Yeah.
right? Essentially, what I think they're doing is they're integrating that system into a full website
Hmm.
and essentially saying, we're not selling any products, we'll just sell you the labels integrated through our site
Right.
that we get because we're a business on
Right.
a website.
And they're still making a profit, but it's far less than what
Yeah, they're
UPS is.
probably making 10% or
Yeah.
20% or
But
whatever,
they're just selling
or
in
maybe
labels.
lower.
They're not actually shipping and handling like UPS is
Yeah,
or
they're like
selling
a
a product.
dropshipper
Interesting.
labels.
Drop shipper for drop shippers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty
So,
cool.
pirateship.com, it was a
Like
awesome site, and it's not like a, like, some super sketchy site, it's
yeah,
it's a legit site. I've shipped now 2 things internationally, overnighted both of them
that's
with
crazy.
no issues.
It's crazy.
This is like worst case scenario possible. It's like big box that's heavy needs to go to another country last minute overnight
Mhm.
with a customs form that got filled out 27 minutes ago. This is
Right.
like worst case scenario of shipping.
Right.
And both those times got there no problem, no issues.
That's crazy, dude.
So strongly recommend.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
I could have
Yeah.
used that a couple times if they
I
did
could have
that.
I've paid a lot for shipping in my
Yeah,
past years.
20% is crazy.
Yeah, it was going to be $475 to ship one box. I got it down to 90.
What?
Yes.
That's absurd.
Yes.
That's better than 20%.
Yeah, yeah, it probably
Holy
is.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's huge.
I'm gonna have you send me that site.
Yeah,
That's fucking
it's
super
really,
sick.
really good. So
I wonder if Anna and Ralph know about this, Grace's people.
yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
they all they do is
I'm
ship.
sure they have.
They're the shipping part of drop shipping.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So,
I hope they do.
I don't know. I'm gonna let them know.
I mean,
'Cause
like,
that's
this is, like, me as a customer just going in and using Pirate Ship too. Like, I'm sure if you were a business and had, I could register as a business on their site. Like, anytime you register as, like, a business or a wholesale
they order.
partner, like, you get a discount,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's like, I'm sure it could be even cheaper than that, which
yeah.
is
That's that's
wild.
super sweet, dude. I love that. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
so shout out to them.
Yeah.
That concludes my headache-inducing, super long
Well,
business update.
that's awesome, dude.
But yeah, yeah,
That's a great update.
lots of stuff. The branding didn't launch yet. I know we pushed the podcast specifically so I could launch the branding,
It's okay.
and it was getting there Sunday night, and I was like, shit, like I think we could launch tomorrow night, maybe. And then I was like,
I'd rather
there are these
you
few things that's like, dang, I want to tweak this, this, and this, and I was
yeah.
like, oh shit.
I'd rather
So
push the podcast than launch early when it's not ready, you know? So, I'm
it definitely was helpful to move the podcast generally just to allow the work time,
yeah,
over the weekend and whatever.
yeah. Sweet.
So it was definitely coordinating with her too and stuff like that was
Right. It's
helpful.
a little
So
easier.
yeah,
Sweet,
yeah.
man. Oh, yeah.
And I had to pick up. I picked up Alex at the airport this week. Alex
Mhm.
Marblon.
Yeah.
So a little life thing.
A little what?
A little life update.
Oh,
thing.
got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's doing well though. Doing good. So
Good. I'm glad.
so
I know he had a loss in the family recently, right? A few months ago.
yes,
Lost his mom. Yeah.
not his mom.
Are you sure? A few months ago?
I will look into this off air.
Okay. No worries. If I know about it, it's because you told me.
We'll figure it out.
It's okay.
No worries. What is your business update for this week?
I have a fucking lot. I have a lot.
There you go. Cool.
I'm not gonna do all of it because it'll actually take forever. But I crammed a lot into this week in 2 days. It started off really strong. Previously, I had a lunch with a lender who is now my lender because she knows her shit. She's
Yeah.
a veteran. She specializes in VA loans. She doesn't charge a loan origination fee because when you borrow money from a lender, they make money on your interest payments, right?
Yeah.
So like the bank has to meet whatever the Federal Reserve number is that day, say 4%. Then they'll write you a mortgage for 6%. So they make that 2% on your whole mortgage, right?
Yeah.
But lenders will often also charge you an upfront fee of like $1,500 or $2,000. But my lender is like, I don't want to hit people where it hurts the most at the closing table, where you're already putting down a $30,000 down payment and paying all these other things.
Yeah.
So she doesn't charge those fees. So she's really awesome. But she told me that she was hosting a training for VA loans about a week ago on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, awesome. I'm going to go. So I got there and I didn't realize that this was as a real estate agent, you have to do continuing education. Like every year you have to do like 14 hours of continuing education, um, kind of just to keep you up to snuff on the policy, I guess.
Sure.
And what I didn't realize is that this counts toward my continuing education,
Oh, cool.
which is great. It also meant that there were a bunch of other real estate agents there who were just there to get the credits. I am here to just learn and am cool with only learning, right? But the whole presentation was maybe like 3.5 hours, right? We got started like a half hour late. Once we got started, there was a bunch of like raffle giveaways and like free stuff and goodies. And then she had like some sponsors speak. And like of the whole 3.5 hours, really only like an hour of it was actually going through slides. Um, which I was a little disappointed by because I was there to learn.
Mm.
We did learn everything in the slides. We did cover everything. But I could really tell that people presenting to real estate agents have to tailor their product to like maintain the attention of the real estate agents, right? It's kind of like sneaking a pill into a spoon of peanut butter for a dog,
Yeah.
right? So you have to have a lot of peanut butter. And that was very apparent to me with the other people who were in the room, the amount of attention they were paying on their phones or their iPads, and then the questions that they were asking, which were like, very situationally dependent. And it was kind of like a, can you solve my current problem? I'm not interested in what's going on. Which is okay. There were a couple agents there that I recognized and knew. But I emailed her afterward and I was like, hey, the information that you provided was super valuable. I took notes on every slide. I wound up with 9 pages of notes after like an hour and a half presentation.
Nice.
So like I was typing nonstop. But I asked her to send me the slides on top of that. So she sent me the slides and a bunch of other documents to support that, which is really great. And so I have written here, I didn't write down everything from the VA loan course.
Hmm.
I was going to do like a little highlight reel, but I don't have my sheet pulled up. So I'm just going to tell you what I remember. Um, there was some really interesting stats. One of the stats was, um, 33% of veterans use VA loans. So 2/3 of vets actually don't use VA loans at
Oh
all,
wow.
right? And the majority, I think 65% reported that when they got their loan officer or a real estate agent didn't even tell them about the VA loans. So they weren't informed. 45% reported that they weren't informed of their VA loans while they were in the service. So like no one is informing these veterans of the loans that they have. And those percentages might be a little off. I can't really remember, but it's something along those lines. There was a startling percentage of people, right? So my lender actually lobbied in Washington, D.C. to have a question put on a loan application form, which is, are you a veteran? And if you check that box, they have to give you information about the VA loan. Whether you go with it or not is different, right? So that begs the question, why is nobody telling these vets about these VA loans, right?
Yeah.
And the answers are kind of sad. I have personally experienced my out of state clients that were looking at buying in Florida, were going for a VA loan. And we were looking at a house that they really liked and they wanted to put an offer on. Granted, we broke 35 offers for these people. So whether they were in love with the house or not, I don't really know. But we were looking at this house, we wanted to put an offer in. And then we realized that they weren't accepting VA loans. And so I talked to the listing agent. And I was like, hey, what's the deal? And they were like, oh, yeah, there's like some chipped paint and like some wood rot in like a door frame. So we don't want to accept the VA loans because we know that the VA appraisers are really strict. So if we go under contract at 450, an appraiser will come through and say, hey, you've got to fix this, this, and this in order to actually close. And they don't want to deal with that. And I was like, well, what if we put in an offer over asking? No one's offering over asking right now. What if we put in an offer over asking to kind of make up the deficit of whatever the appraiser has us do? And even then, they were kind of wishy washy. And I was like, man, what the hell? Like, I guess that the appraisers are really strict, right? Anybody you talk to in real estate is going to tell you the same thing, which is that the VA is really strict about the condition of the house when you buy it because it's a government backed loan for veterans. So they want to make sure that the house is in tip top shape. Um, and so I was like, okay, got it. That is not the full story because my lender, who has written hundreds, if not thousands of VA loans, has
Yeah.
personally experienced appraisers having the exact same requirements as any other conventional FHA, whatever loan. It's the same exact requirements, held to the same standards. There's no difference at all. But people perpetuate this narrative because of a couple other factors. And one of the factors is um, lenders will charge that $1,500 to $2,000 fee, the loan origination fee that my lender doesn't charge, right? So the VA protects veteran borrowers from bullshit fees. So lenders will not only charge you the MLO fee, they'll also charge you like a technology fee. What the fuck is that, right?
Yeah.
And if you ask them about it, they'll just say like, "Oh, that's kind of like, just what we charge and that it's because we charge it." There's no real explanation there because it's a bullshit fee, right? So the VA has a rule which says that their borrowers can't pay more than 1% the total home value in bullshit fees, right? So the lenders, instead of just not charging the borrowers that fee, they just tell the sellers, "Hey, if you accept a VA loan, they can't pay closing costs, so you have to pay closing costs." So rather than doing what they should do and not charging veterans, they just pass that on to the sellers. And so then the sellers go, well, I don't want to pay those fees. And so then their real estate agent goes, dude, no worries. We just won't accept VA loans. And so now, because of these shitty lenders, veterans have less homes that they can use VA loans on, which is super fucked up. And so immediately I reached out to everybody I know who's in the service or has served and was like, has anybody told you about these loans? Um, uh, have you used one? Have you had any experience with it? What's the deal?
Mhm.
And I messaged maybe like 5 people about it. Most of them were like, yeah, I'm kind of familiar, but I don't have a ton of info on it. And then one kid was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the Marines." He's in the air wing of the Marines, so he rides on helicopters. And he
Cool.
was like, "They hold the training once a year to teach us about this type of stuff." And I was like, "Oh, cool. If you ever have any questions, like I'd love to talk to you about it. This is a special interest of mine now." And he was like, "Yeah, I know it's a misconception that you can't use the loan more than once. There's like some loophole where you actually can." And I'm like, "Okay, yes, but no. It's not a loophole. It's just the way that these loans are structured. You can use them more than once." So, an
Yeah.
interesting piece of information that my lender had is when you are pulling out a VA loan and it's your only loan, like you don't have multiple VA homes, you
Mhm.
just have one, there's no cap on how much you can borrow. So long as you're a qualified borrower and you can pay the monthly payments, you can borrow as much as you want.
Yeah.
So, she had a 3-star general in Orlando buy a $3 million house with zero money down because it was all financed through the government, right?
Wow.
The cap is okay, so 3-star general lives in that home, right? And then he's like, "Oh, I've got some orders and now I have to go live in, like, Oklahoma, so I'm gonna move there, but I don't wanna sell my Florida home. I wanna keep my Florida home, but I have to move to Oklahoma because I got military orders," right?
Right.
Now you're capped at like $800,000. Your second home can't be more than 800. And then if you get a third home, which at that point they start to look at you funny because you're not supposed to use VA loans to build a portfolio. But there are instances in which they're like, okay, I understand you've owned this home for 10 years, whatever, right? But at that point, let's say you borrow all 800,000 for that second home. If you want to get a third home, you don't have any, they call it eligibility. Like the government won't back you any money. If you use 400,000 to buy that home, you still have 400,000 to buy another one, right? The only way to get your eligibility back is to pay off your loan or to refinance into a non-VA loan. So if you pay off half your house and then you transition into a conventional loan, you refinance, maybe you get a better interest rate. Now that allotment of money that you've already paid off goes back to your eligibility. You can use another VA loan to do no
Got it.
financing or no down payment, right? So those are some of the fun things that I learned from VA training. There's a lot more, like I said, 9 pages, and Grace couldn't go to the training. So when I was done, I just sat down with her and I like word vomited all the information I got. But there's a lot of cool stuff. You can really, truly, genuinely get like an awesome house with zero money down for a
Wow.
reasonable monthly payment because They also don't charge, if you get a conventional loan, if you or I were to buy a house and we want to do the FHA 3.5% down loan, we still have to do a 3.5% down payment, but then we have to pay a monthly premium until our principal is paid down to 20%. It's called PMI, private mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
Veterans on VA loans don't have to pay that. So they put zero money down and don't have to pay any of that.
Nice.
And so I was learning more about the structure of how the government actually backs these loans, because the government will back you X number of dollars, and then the bank is willing to loan you 4 times that amount because the government is covering 25%, right?
Mm.
Um, and so I started to learn about, um, flood insurance, because in special hazard flood zone areas, the government mandates that you have some type of flood insurance, right? Um, and so FEMA will back your insurance company that you choose to use. And then that's the way that the government verifies that you're using insurance on that special hazard flood zone area, right?
Yeah.
And so what I learned is that it's not the government writing insurance policies, it's the government backing insurance policies to make sure that this area in a special flood zone has insurance.
Yeah.
Similarly to how the government will back your loan if you're a veteran using a VA loan. Um, and what's interesting about that is that homes that are in special flood hazard zones right now aren't closing because the government shut down. So the federal government can't back any of these policies. So some people are stuck in limbo waiting
Wow.
for that to happen. Yeah, interestingly, the person who I'm working with, they live in Satellite Beach and they wanna sell in, like, the next year. They were asking me questions about deeds and titles, and the deed is like, the title to your car, where it's, like, the piece of paper that you sign, right? And a title is, like, the legal status that the government sees, like, it's the paper trail of ownership, right?
Yeah.
And so you'll use a title company when you buy a house, because then you get title insurance. They make sure that no one else has claims to this house. You're the rightful owner and the only rightful owner. No one can dispute it going forward.
Got it.
Um, but he was having questions about that, and he was like, "Oh, so the government has to be involved with the title transaction because they're the ones who keep the records, because you pay the county property taxes, right?
Got it.
So no homes are closing right now." And I was like, "Well, no, because the federal government shut down, but all of these title transaction things happen at the county level, and the county isn't shut down." And then he was like, "Shut the fuck up, Mason." I was like, "Okay." But I was correcting him on, like, a lot of stuff. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but so that was the first chunk of my week. I learned a lot of stuff. There's a lot more with VA loans that I learned as well, but I'm not gonna go into it right now. Those were the big hitter items from the training.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot, and then it helped me understand past even just VA stuff, like how does loan writing happen in general, and who
R
gets paid where and why. Um, so that's the VA loan training stuff, right? We also did our another open house, so that's 20 weeks in a row that we've done open houses, which is great. We didn't have many people come through this week, but that's okay. We still did it, and I was able to work. We had good service at this one,
Oh, nice.
so I got a lot of work done. And this is what I worked on. I am at like 80% finished with my timeline, my
Mhm.
listing launch timeline, right? So I've got all of the events, all the actions for buyers and sellers and buyers agents and sellers agents. And now I'm just working on the contingency plans on, if you don't go under contract, when do you drop the price and by how much? When do you offer credits at closing in different packages and cycle them out? What ads do you run? Because I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on ads for a house that's taking 6 months to sell.
Yeah.
Then I'm just gonna lose a lot of money trying to get the house sold. So I'm kind of tinkering with that. But I got to the point where I was super happy with the timeline as a whole, and I was like, okay, now I need to start placing more emphasis on the actual value in the listing launch, right? So the package that I provide to my clients. Everybody who, like, walks by and asks me what I'm doing on my computer, I show them, and then they laser in on the VIP package that I'm offering, that free gift box worth thousands of dollars at the listing launch. And everyone is like, "Dude, as soon as you're done with that, send it to me. That's interesting." Because everyone loves these affiliate partnerships. So for some backstory, I identified like 40 company types that I want to have an affiliate partnership with. So I've got like a plumber, a roofing company, um, uh, some insurance, a pool filtration company, stuff like that, right? I've got 40 of them. And over the past few weeks, I have been emailing companies, and my approach has been find the top company or two and then email them and then keep emailing them until I get a response and then get them to sign up as the affiliate partnership, right? So as of last week, I had 8 agree to do the partnership and I was in talks with another 3. right? So I was at 11 of 40. And the deals that I was getting were really good, but I was unhappy because I need to get this finished and it's moving too slow. These people are not responding to their email. I'll call them and like the person there doesn't know who to go to about this. They tell me the manager's going to call me back and they don't. And so I just hit it this week um, with the Alex Hormozy approach of like do so much volume that it's unreasonable that you wouldn't be successful.
Yeah.
And critically, in learning that you can schedule text messages and then getting my phone blacklisted by Apple a few weeks ago, I also learned that you can schedule emails to go out, but you won't be blacklisted for scheduling emails. It won't go into your spam folder unless you BCC it to a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
So long as you send individual emails, even if they all send it the exact same time because they're scheduled, you won't be blacklisted.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, I'm just going to find enough companies in each of these categories that it's going to have to work. So this is my list of all of
Oh,
these,
wow.
the ones that say like email sent. The blue ones are ones I already have deals for. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, pest control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 companies I sent emails to.
Boom.
And I did that for like all 38
Darn.
that I didn't have yet. So I scheduled all those emails to go out yesterday morning, Monday morning. Um, and I got a bunch of hits back.
Nice.
I got an email back from an internet service provider, which is kind of rare because usually for an internet you just go with like AT&T or something, right? But I found a local company. They're offering free installation, a free month of service, and a free Amazon Eero, which I think is like a little Amazon Echo type of
Yeah.
thing. But that was great. I had a hurricane shutter company reach out to me and be like, "Hey, we want to partner with real estate agents to do a free inspection on the hurricane shutters and then a free estimate if you want to buy shutters." And I was like, "Okay, great." So when those hit me, I was talking to people around me about this, and they were like, "Whoa, that's really cool."
Mm.
Um, and I kind of thought I was talking to actually Christian, who I haven't talked to in a long time. Um, Christian, who used to talk to me so much they would piss me off. I've since gotten over.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, now it doesn't bother me. I know how to handle conversations now. But he was like, "Talk me through like what you're doing." And so I kind of I had to talk to it from scratch, but I was like, the fundamental issue that I have noticed multiple people have is that they don't think that the real estate agent provides any value at all. And that could be that the real estate agent isn't showing them the work that they're doing or that they genuinely aren't doing any work at all. But I want a way that I can give them free value upfront without even having to show them any work that I've done to get them to agree to work with me, where I'll then show them the work that I can do. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to offer them a full list of people to contact. If you need a plumber, here's a good plumbing company to call. You don't have to do like search on Google. You can just call this number. And then if you want to be my client, you don't have to pay me anything today. You don't have to buy a house today. You just have to send me your contact information and I'll follow up with you every 4 or 5 months to make sure that you don't want to buy a home yet. And then I'll give you the discount codes for all this stuff. And then you get thousands of dollars in discounts. And he was like, "Dude, that's awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, not only that, but I also found a legal loophole." I was looking into there's 3 or 4 different contractors in here that I'm not legally allowed to do partnerships with. That's lenders, title companies, insurance companies, because they are directly involved with the sale of the house. And so I can't be involved with them because that's a conflict of interest.
Mm.
Additionally, there's an ethical concern with working with CPAs because there's personal finance involved, right? And so I was talking to ChatGPT about this, and I was like, "Dude, I'm not getting any money for this. So why is it an ethical conflict at all?" And then ChatGPT was like, "Oh, if you're not getting any money for it, it's fine." And I was like, "What?" Because I have been calling this an affiliate partnership, and so ChatGPT took that to mean that I'm getting paid for it, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That's not what's happening at all." So then it clarified, and it was like, if you're not getting paid anything at all, and 100% of the profits go to your customers,
Mhm.
you can work with whoever you want. And I was like, "Sweet." So then I reached out to my lender, I reached out to my insurance broker, I reached out to a title company, I've reached out to my CPA, and I'm getting these people to do affiliate partnerships with me too. And what's critical about the CPA is that now when someone is interested in buying a home, I can say, "Here's this free list of people with a bunch of discounts on it. I've got a CPA that'll give you a free 1 hour consultation," or whatever the
Yeah.
discount ends up being. Go talk to him and make sure that it's financially responsible for you to buy a home. And then instead of selling people, convincing them to buy a home when they shouldn't, I'm qualifying my buyers so that I don't waste my time. But also, I'm showing that I care about my buyers and I'm not just after their money. I want to make sure that they can actually afford this home before
Yeah.
they buy it. Whereas most real estate agents will just convince people to buy homes if they can.
Yeah.
And Christian, who is really big into like social work and stuff, was like all over that. He fucking loved it. And he was like, please send me this thing as soon as you're done with it. That's fucking awesome. I love that you're doing this. And I was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, really cool.
yeah, I haven't seen anybody else do it, and I'm getting more and more positive reinforcement from it. So,
Yeah, I don't I'm sure there's very few people out there, if any, who have done something like that.
yeah,
Very few.
yeah. So, I kind of realized that buyers don't technically pay real estate agents because the way that this works, when you want to sell your house, a real estate agent comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to help you sell your house. Give me 6% commission, then I'll split that with the buyer's agent." Right? Well, if I don't have a buyer's agent and I'm a buyer and I come to you and I'm like, "Hey, I want to buy your house, but I don't have an agent to pay. So why don't you knock off half of that guy's commission so that I'm paying less for the house because I don't have an agent?" You're going to go to your agent and they're going to fight like tooth and nail to keep their commission because, "Oh, I brought it to you. And so like I'll cover both sides or whatever." Right? They're going to give you some shit. Right? And so what I can say going to buyers is, "Hey, listen, you're gonna have a really tough time once you find a house with a listing agent. You're gonna have a tough time negotiating them down on price. Even if you negotiate them down on the price of the real estate agent, you're then gonna wanna negotiate them down even further because it's a buyer's market and you want a good deal, right? Good luck doing that after you've lopped $4,000 off the top because you don't wanna pay for an agent. Now the listing agent's pissed off and hates you and is gonna wanna kill the deal. The person selling the house has a perceived loss of half that commission already on their house. They don't see it as commission, they see it as value of the home, and everybody in the neighborhood's pissed off because now the home's going to sell for less and it's going to decrease the value of their homes, right? You are already paying for a buyer agent. Let me help you since you're already paying for me. And if you're really concerned about the money, I'm basically paying for myself with all the value in this package, right? Um,
Yeah, very cool.
and that is my make an offer so compelling it would be stupid to say no.
Yeah.
So it's coming together and I'm really happy about it. I hit I maxed out the number of scheduled emails you can do. You can only do 100 at a time. So I hit that Sunday night. Uh, I sent out all 100 emails. And then yesterday morning I got like 45 replies.
Oh, awesome.
And I was actually sitting at the bar. I saw my email blowing up all morning, but I had to go to work and stuff. And so I was sitting at the bar, and Christian came up to me and he was talking to me, and I was like, "Yeah." So now I'm replying to these people, and I don't know. I'm going to see if I can, convince them to work with me. And he was like, "It looks like you're getting positive feedback." And I was like, "What?" And I was scrolling through, and most of them were people being like, "This is a great idea. Give me more information."
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. And then I responded to everybody last night. I've got like 10 that were like, "Let's do it." So I'm working with them to work out a deal right now. I had one remodeling company reach out to me actually, and they gave me a really good deal. They were like $500 off any work over $5,000 and $1,000 off any work over 10,000. So essentially a flat 10%
10% off.
discount.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really compelling because when you get your kitchen remodeled, it can be like five to $15,000. And so 10% off is a really compelling deal. They also work with plumbers and countertop companies. So if you want to do like a full remodel, they're a one-stop shop. They'll cover all of it for you.
Yeah.
Um, but what is interesting about that, in addition, is they'll do all the work in like 4 to 6 weeks. So if you're thinking about selling in the next like couple months, they can get this job done for you ahead of time, which is super sick. And the guy was really articulate. His name's James, really articulate. Really smart. I enjoyed talking to him. He used to be a real estate agent and now he's in the
Oh,
remodeling business, so he could talk the talk.
huh.
But I liked him a lot. So we're officially partners now. They're called
Nice.
Enhance Remodeling. Um, and he actually said they have a way that you can finance your purchase too. So it's not just the 10% thing. If you wanted to exchange your 10% thing for, they have 0% financing options too. Um, so there's a lot of different things you can do with that, but I'm stoked. That's one that I hammered down yesterday. I
Yeah.
think I also got an electrical company. I had a bunch of cool pool companies reach out to me. But I hit my limit of 100 on Sunday, which is only like three different categories. So
Yeah.
then I sent out another 80 last night, or I scheduled 80 to go out last night.
Nice.
So I was up pretty late writing those. And then this morning, my email blew up again, and I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but it's going well. I'm predicting that by our podcast on Sunday, I should probably have like 80% of the affiliate partnerships locked in.
Oh, sweet.
And I
Yep.
started the week at 30. So that's a 50% bump in 1 week, which is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Um, so I would like to hammer those out and get them finished up. What I'm looking at doing next I want to change I want to polish the timeline, the listing timeline, and finish that up, but I have been doing full effort on this affiliate partnership. I think I'm going to work really hard on finalizing the affiliate partnership, making it into a graphic, like a PDF or a printout sheet or something that I can give to my current clients to
Yeah.
give them value right away, and then give to future clients to add them to my CRM and get that rolling, because I don't need to do a listing launch or a huge open house to start giving out this value. I can start giving out this value now.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the next step in giving out that value is the newsletter and the website for early access to listings and stuff like that. And so I definitely want a website. Something that I learned in looking for these contractors online is I just typed like plumbing company near me, right? If they did not have an email in their website, I did not reach out to them. If they didn't have a Facebook where I could find an email there, I did not reach out to them, because I'm trying to blast as many as I can. If I really am struggling to find a company, I'm just going to start calling people. But in like while I'm like bird shotting, I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to get as many as I can.
Right.
But something that I noticed was that if a company just didn't have a website, even if they had contact information in Google, I was like, meh, and I just kept going. And then that made me realize how much I value companies having websites. Same with real estate agents. So I'm gonna start putting together a website too. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
my idea at least is to go into Canva whiteboard and then just use Canva tools to make the website page look like what I want it to look like. And then when you click on the About Me page, I'll have a line that goes to what I want that page to look like. And then I'm just going to give all that to Josh and say, can you just make this website? Here's literally everything.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there. And so I think, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about the affiliate partnerships, not seeking ones that don't have a website, is I think that's smart for a couple of reasons. One, it could be largely a waste of your time to reach out to companies that don't bother to have a website or email publicly available.
Yeah.
But then the even more important point is that what is the quality that you present to your potential customer or the potential person that you're going to work with if when they start pulling up the affiliate partnerships, they pull up phone numbers with no email, no social media, no
A website.
website, no nothing, and it's like Billy Bob down the street with a van and he'll fix your plumbing.
That's a good
Right, you
point.
know what I mean, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
If there's Billy Bob out there who's got plumbing, not hating on you, but it's like
Yeah.
that's my point, right?
Well, that's a good point. And it's along the same lines of I've had several companies reach back out to me, but like their response is really lackluster. Like it's kind of curt or rude, or just short, or there's really bad spelling errors or something like that. And those email replies I am sitting on and not replying to yet, because I want to see if I can get someone else who is better presenting to partner with, because I don't want to partner with someone because they're the only person I could get. I want to partner with them because they're a good brand, right?
Yeah.
And so I've had a couple cleaning companies reply to me, and they're all like really terrible replies, like not very official. And I started rethinking myself. I was like, well, I've met a couple business owners who I was shocked own profitable businesses. So maybe I should just put up with it anyways. And then,
Yeah.
maybe other people are more acclimated to this. So it's not actually bad to my customers. And then I got a reply from a really small local landscaping company that was like really eloquent and well worded. And I was like, nope, putting everybody on the back
Yeah.
burner. I'm going to find a good one. And then if I really can't find a good one, I'm going to talk to these people on the phone and go from there. Um, but it's another version of that where it's like, I don't want to partner with low quality companies. I want to partner with quality companies.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm placing an extra emphasis. So there's two things here. I'm placing an extra emphasis on working with local businesses, because I would really like to I don't want to partner with AT&T if I can. I'd rather partner with Wire3, the internet service provider who I have
Sure.
now, because they're a local company. So I'm working with as many local companies as I can. And something that my lender mentioned this previous week with the VA stuff is that veterans really, really notice it when you refer them to vet-owned businesses or places that offer veteran discount. Um, they see that and they notice that. And so then I started thinking I should reach out to all my affiliates and then find out if they offer vet discounts and then what those discounts are. So then I can have a regular sheet and then I can have a veteran specific sheet where I'm like, hey, here's my discounts and then here's veteran discounts that they offer too.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of on the back burner because like finding places that have vet discounts is cool, but it's not specific to me. Anybody can do that. These codes are exclusive to me for most of these businesses. So I'm then thinking, well, wouldn't it be fun if I had like a list of like, oh, you're moving to Vieira? Here's like the top 5 restaurants that I like here, and here's their veteran discounts. Here's the top 5 laundromats, and here's their veteran
Yeah.
discounts. I'm thinking about putting together something like that, but I'm kind of putting that on the back burner while I finish up the affiliate stuff. Because again, that's specific to me and my clients. But Yeah, that's my business update.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's a super solid amount of work. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how it all comes together. Excited to see the listing launch in its
Yeah, me
like
too.
final form, final V1 form.
Yeah, the timeline.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting big, and I'll trim it down for, like, just buyers, here's what you have to worry about.
Yeah.
But overall, generally, it looks really good, and I've got a lot of stuff in there that, people would usually overlook. So, for example, there's a house in my parents' neighborhood that is now under contract. It's been for sale for a while, but now it's under contract, and, my mom is friends with the HOA president, and, my mom is curious about who's moving in, but the HOA president won't tell her because it's private information at the moment. They're under contract, they haven't bought. Um, and my mom was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I know that they know it because they had to, like, file some form or something, and so I think their name is on there." And she was like, "It's like a POPL or a estoppel." And I was like, "Oh, an HOA estoppel form." And she was like, "Yeah." And the estoppel form is something that you request from the HOA that gives all the HOA information so that the person who's putting an offer on the house can apply for the HOA. Because when you put an offer on a house, you have 3 days to apply to the HOA. Like, you have to apply by that deadline
Whoa.
if the house is in an HOA. Same with condo associations. And so that's something that my parents were like, "Oh, neat. That's something that you wouldn't know if you were buying without a real estate agent." And so I have that in my list of timeline. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I'm getting to the point now where I can have I'm getting to the point of confidence now where it's like, "Oh, okay. I'm now at the point where I know more about real estate than probably like 60% of real estate agents, right? Even ones that have more sales than me. I think I'm at the point now where I can hold my own in a conversation and
Yeah.
maybe even, like, give more value than I receive in those types of conversations.
Yeah.
So my confidence is really getting up there. So if I can take that confidence coupled with, um, this affiliate partnership thing, then I'm gonna be rock solid.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What lessons did you learn this week?
So for this week, I wrote down, I mentioned this one a little bit earlier, but continuing to do the stuff that others are unwilling to do to build a higher probability of achieving success that most others don't.
Mm,
So, essentially like doing the grunt work, the stuff that everyone avoids in hopes that it gives me a higher probability at success,
yeah,
beyond what, Joe Schmo who doesn't want to go into business achieves,
yeah,
at least from a monetary success perspective, right?
yeah.
That's one of my lessons this week. And then I kind of had a funny one, and it was I was re-listening to a Hermosian Modern Wisdom uh podcast,
Mhm.
and
Me too. I re-listened to a bunch of them this week.
oh cool, yeah, so I'm like almost done with one of them. I only re-listened to one this week.
Mhm.
Um, and he was talking about like stress level and how different people kind of have like a different fuse, and then how much do they actually dip when they finally snap, and then how do they recover, like stuff like that, right? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, like I was thinking about what really stresses me out in life, and I was like, it's not the no job aspects. It's not the like, oh, advertisements or branding or this might work or that might work. Like that doesn't stress me out. It's just like I am working as hard as I can on it and it is what it is.
Okay.
And like I will just continue to work on it and I know that the model can work and I continue to push for it, like it will work, right?
Right.
Obviously, like if everything fell through the floor tomorrow, like I'd be working my ass off to try and get it done, right? But it's not like I don't have this like extrapolation of like stress. It's not like the same stuff. Stress is like I feel with like just like general day to day life stuff, like coordinating with Sammy about like a date, like that stuff gives me stress.
Interesting.
Or like with something that I noticed very consistently, which is really odd to me, and I don't know why this is, but like customer emails stress me out. Like, I will avoid checking my email until, like, the very last thing of my day. And then I will, like, very, very quickly go through it as quickly as possible, respond, and then close my computer, and I'm like, "I'm done." It's like one of those things that, like, you just, like, barely and it's, like, weird because it's, like, the the ads and, like, site performance up and down sometimes and, like, branding this or, like, advertisement that, like, that stuff, I'm like, it doesn't stress me out. Like it just like we're going through the motions. Like I know that the process can work. I just got to keep pushing through. Inevitably, we'll encounter problems. That's okay.
Right.
Solve those problems, move on. But it's like the simple stuff, like coordinating a date or like responding to customers that I don't even know if they're upset yet, but like could be potentially upset because they emailed me. It's like I don't even have any like that's the little stuff that stressed me out. So I was thinking about that last night a little bit, and I'm trying this week to just like I want that to be eliminated from like my stressors, and so I'm just trying to tackle it through like exposure therapy. Like now I check customer emails like twice a day,
Yeah.
and like I'll just go through this painful experience like 2 or 3 times a day
Right.
and make the experience for the customer better, but also get myself used to like checking customer emails. So like
Do
stuff
you,
like that.
do you think that you feel more so a pattern that I recognize there, and I'm wondering if this has legs. Do you think that you're more stressed when you're working with other people because if you fail, you aren't bothered because failures are part of the process. But if you let other people down, that bothers you.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, and I think that's why I've put like so much weight on like family stuff in the past too, like family judgment.
Mhm.
Um, just so, like in my life in general, like, but that's one of been like a main stressor, like in like high school
Mhm.
and stuff like that for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
Even early days when you and I became friends.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that's probably an ongoing process for me.
Mhm.
I think that's why it's so hard for me because it's like like all of my like ghetto stuff, like, the mirror missing on the Miata and like the window being broken and like the little registration being expired, like all these little things like going on right now. I'm trying to think. It doesn't bother me. Like I got pulled over the other day and like I recognize that I have like 5 different variables that don't look that great. And I'm like, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, all right, what we got today, right? And so it's like it doesn't bother me, but it's like if other people like if I had like friends or family with me in the car or like my family was upset at me for like not addressing X, Y, and Z about the car or whatever, like that would stress me out way more
Right.
than the like policeman experience of like, hey, where's your proof of insurance?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And so it's like I think you're right in that sense. You know, the other factors of like having other people around like incorporated into it, like definitely like it's a Hermosi talks about this. It's like he needs like 20 different words for different types of hard, right? And it's like that's just like a different flavor of hard that like I
Yeah.
don't quite like I don't have a good grapple on yet. I've gotten better over the years, but it's
Mhm.
still like one of those main things that's just like hard for me to tackle.
You think it's because that there's expectations there that you don't have to meet with like police officers?
Yeah.
Like there's expectations set from customers that you are gonna solve the problem or you're at fault and they're upset with you, or
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
plan a date wrong, then you're a bad boyfriend and because there's the expectation set that you're gonna do it well.
Yeah.
But with a police officer, there's less expectations
Yeah.
because it's your car, so
They
you can
expect me to like run.
yeah.
And so like if
Yeah,
I don't do that, like that's a
yeah,
plus,
yeah.
right?
But you're not stressed after you plan the date or after you reply to the customer emails or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Leading
like
up to it.
getting up to it. It's a really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think you make a fair point on that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but that was my lesson this week.
Sweet.
Yeah. What about you? What'd you have for lesson?
Mine is unrelated to anything else in my podcast sheet, but I thought it was really interesting. Um, I got one of the Hormozy Mosey minutes this week. Did you read it this
No,
week? Okay, I'm gonna read it.
I haven't checked my personal email in a week.
That's okay. Here's
I
here
struggle with email.
I struggle reading Hormozy's emails.
What's the best way to contact you? Email?
I've got okay, so here it is. Words I like. The whole point of marketing is to become trusted. Once you're trusted, you don't need anything else. So this is following his SPCL influence theory.
He talked about this on a podcast this week.
Yeah.
The SPCL. I listened to that podcast.
This was a really captivating email for me.
Cool.
Some of his Mosey minutes I kind of breezed through, but this one was I copied and pasted it into my pocket.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
It goes, many business owners make random content hoping to gain influence, but they don't actually know what they're doing, and that's fine. But if you'd like to get more out of what you're putting in, leverage, here's how to think about it. Here's how I think about it. Influence equals the likelihood someone follows your directions. The elements that increase influence are SPCL. The S is status. You control things that the prospect finds valuable. Example, you have money and you can demonstrate it. The P is power. They followed your directions in the past and they had a good thing happen. Example, you say to add a two-step opt-in to increase opt-in rates. They do it, then it does. So the next time you give a directive, they're more likely to follow it. The C is credibility. You have proof. Example, you've won awards or have visual proof around whatever thing you're telling them to do. The L is likeness. Do you look and act like them? This doesn't have to be physical, but physically looking similar will increase influence. This is why advertising campaigns benefit from multiple different avatars. Note, some of these can be accomplished at the same time. Example, me selling a company provides both status and credibility. I sold the company, which gives me credibility. I've got lots of money for it, which gives me status. Alternatively, I could just have the money, which would not give me the credibility for selling a company. Example, trust fund kid inherits money. Or I could have sold the company but got paid almost nothing because I had diluted my shares, which it would not have given me status. Example, a founder who takes on tons of debt and leaves empty handed but knows how to scale. So next time you make content, try to show you have what they want, give them directions on how to get it, show proof of a third party or observable things you could only achieve with the following advice you're giving, and be yourself. You'll attract people like you.
Yeah.
So I read that and I was like, oh my God, because the real estate content there, my real estate career has been get my license in February, first sale and brokerage signing in May, trying to get clients in June, July, and then like early August. And then late August, September, and October have been halt everything and then build a product that build the offer that would be foolish to say no to, right? Which is
Yeah.
this listing launch timeline. It's get more confident in my product, right? And I had stopped making the advertisements because in June, July, and August, um, like static videos. I did those videos where I was walking around different cities and like showcasing stuff in there. I did open house walkthroughs. Um, and then I did the market reports. I spent all of early September writing those market reports. And so this month, Grace had written the market reports for October. She finished them on like October 4th, 5th. And then this past weekend, she was like, "Hey, let's record these." And I was like, "Okay." And so I was like, "Hey, this is data for September. So we should say in the month of September, XYZ happened. But we're going to be posting these at the end of October. So we should probably say October, like,
Mm,
at the start of October, this is what the data looked like." And then Grace was like, "I'm not a huge fan of that because it's not 100% accurate, whatever." And I was like, "Okay, well, let's just try it." And so the way that we film these is we sit down together and then we read off of like a teleprompter on her iPad. And she was reading off the teleprompter and she kept stumbling over saying October instead of September. And so then she was like, "Fuck, I don't want to fucking do this. This isn't the way that I want to do it." And I was like, "That's totally fine. We don't have to do it." And then I was like, you know, it's so late in the month now that if we take the time and effort to make these videos and post them, they're not going to get great views because it's stale data. It's old. It's 3 weeks old. Um, and so I appreciate you writing the scripts, and I don't want that to like, completely go to waste. But I'm kind of stuck if we can't do this for October. Additionally, we made like 17 videos last time because there's like 17 cities in Brevard. I'm glad that we did it once, but I don't think we need to do that again. I think that we should control the cities that we market to. We'll work with someone in Titusville, but it's a 45-minute drive. If I can market for someone in West Melbourne, that's easier for me. So let's pick the 5 that are highest viewed from our first batch and cities that we're local to and interested in. And then she got like kind of more aggravated because she was like, "Okay, fine, but I wrote all of them for all of them. So like now we're doing less." And then I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We could pivot since we don't have any scripts written and we could just record some like short form content of us like conversating." And she was like, "Fine, we can try that." So then we tried that, but we didn't riff really well because she wasn't prepared to talk about anything. And you know how I am, I'll just go. And
yeah.
so I wasn't giving her like a ton of space to talk because she didn't have much to say. So it felt like I was steamrolling, but really I was just like kind of carrying the conversation. And she got frustrated with that too. And so I just stopped and I was like, let's not record anything today, right? Like I'm still working on the product. We don't have to do advertising. We post when we do our open houses. We post when we're working sometimes. That's enough for right now. Like we're in the phase where we're honing the product. And she was like, "Yeah, but we're not going to get any clients if we don't advertise at all." And I was like, "That's right. I just need a little bit more time to finalize this." And then when we advertise, I have some fresh ideas for making like actual advertisements, leveraging that product and following the SPCL. And so then she hit me with a woman in the red dress reframe where she was like, "We did the open house walkthrough videos, and then we did the go around the city and look at the best restaurants videos, and then we did the market report videos, and now we're looking at doing less market reports or maybe none at all, and then this new thing, and like we're hopping around a lot." And I was like, "That's a valid perspective and a valid analysis of what's going on. It doesn't feel that way to me. I usually know what it feels like to hop from thing to thing. It's where I try it, I don't like it, um, and I just want to try something else because it's something else, right? So like when I was a kid, I did a lot of different sports. The whole time I played baseball, I didn't like baseball.
Mhm.
So then I switched to soccer, which I also hated the whole time I did it, and I stuck with it for a long time. But as an adult, I have the luxury of not having to stick to shit that I don't feel is going to work or that I don't like, right? And the reason I stopped and pivoted on those different marketing things is because none of them felt like the content that I wanted to make, not results driven. It's not, oh, this didn't get enough views or, oh, this didn't generate any leads. I don't really care about that. It's this marketing doesn't feel authentic to me. And I don't want to make stuff that's not authentic. Additionally, the market reports are great. It's what the realtor in Washington does, and she says it works for her. But just because it works for her doesn't mean that it's really my style. It's super informative, but there's no personal touch on there. It's just me giving you data, and that's it. So I established myself as the data guy, but it doesn't make you want to work with me any more than someone else who has that same data. So it's not, you know, it doesn't have any personal flair on it.
Yeah.
And SPCL really breaks down how to build a real estate brand as a realtor. And so, with whatever marketing we do, we should follow this SPCL, bring up testimonials. I brought up the example of when the Powerball was going around, and I was like, oh, what happens if you win? Do you go get the ticket? Then everyone's going to know who you are. What if you trust a lawyer? I don't know if I could give $1 billion Powerball ticket to anybody, including a lawyer. And then I watched one podcast with Kurt Panousis, the lawyer on uh, in Indian Harbor Beach, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I totally trust him." I went from being like, "You're crazy to give anyone a $100,000 lottery ticket, let alone a billion," to I would give this guy a ticket. I'm gonna call him just in case I win, right? And the only difference is that I watched a podcast where he talked about what he does,
Yeah.
which immediately I could see the difference between the market report videos and the city walkthroughs of my real estate stuff and a podcast where he talks about his work. And then I could attribute all the SPCL stuff to that podcast. And I was like, okay, he's following the formula that works. I didn't know there was a formula, but I knew it wasn't going to work and I couldn't tell why. Now I know why. And so I articulated that to Grace. And I think she understood where I was coming from, but also is like kind of skeptical. And I get it because I know how it is working with me. There's a lot. There's a lot. I have a lot of good ideas and we go a lot of different directions and we don't always go in that direction, right?
Right.
I'm very much a throw shit at the wall and see what sticks type of dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if it's not sticking, I pivot. Um, I I think that if we made those same market report videos every month for the rest of time, eventually we would probably get clients from it. But it's just not the way that I want to do it. So it's not the way we're gonna.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And part of my thing was I was going back to advertising, right, after this branding
Yeah.
revamp. And I'm going through this part of the reason I'm doing this creator process as well is like this isn't stuff that I created, right? This isn't like because I at least believe that I have a skewed perception of advertising, A, based on the challenges I've faced in finding an advertiser that really works super well, but then B, in that my how think is very different than how 35-year-old moms think.
Right.
And so my perception of what a good advertisement is or what I want to convey in this different image or whatever, I've largely like it's been actually really hard for me to be like I like, yeah, I suck at this. This is okay. Like, I can get better, or I can pay other people to do it better than me. Like, it's been a little bit challenging to go through that, right? But like part of the reason that I'm going at it from the creator approach and going through Incense and Meta Creator Marketplace is because they have a great perspective on their audience and their life, and they create advertisements to themselves because they have a personal brand, and that's literally like they are branding them,
Right.
right? And if their branding and their personal brand aligns well with my brand and they want to work with me, then I am happy to facilitate that exchange.
Right.
And I don't have to become a 35-year-old mom to figure this out, right? And it's a little bit challenging because it's like part of the thing I experienced this week was like, man, like I feel like I really do feel like a middleman in business sometimes. Like I really feel like like, man, you really like can't fucking do this, or this. And it's like I can like figure shit out sometimes and then like check basic boxes. But it's like I feel like I depend on other people to like make the other stuff happen. And it's like it's kind of like demoralizing from a sense because it's like I pictured like businesses like this, like, you got your like your little plate, and like that was your like the stuff that you did, and then like you built on that plate, and then you built it up, and it was something great and amazing. And you just like start with your little foundation, you just like build, and it's like woo. But in reality, it's like I put down like some seeds into like some like really shitty soil, and then someone comes along and puts fertilizer in, and someone else comes along and puts water in it, and all I do is make sure the sun rises every day and like kind of like tend to a little bit and like make sure like a squirrel doesn't eat it, right? And it's like it's just like sometimes sitting back and watching like the other different factors that feel like they're like the help almost feels demoralizing in a weird way sometimes because it's like fuck, like what am I capable of? You know what I mean?
Have I ever told you the story of Henry Ford and the investigative journalist?
No.
So when Henry Ford came out with the first automobile, the reason Ford took off instead of other companies is because they automated the manufacturing process. Right,
Yes.
is the first mass produced automobile, right? And so Henry Ford was getting like all these accolades, but also a lot of hate from these other companies. And there was a journalist who um, was writing like all these hit pieces on Henry Ford. So
Yeah.
Henry Ford reached out to him and he was like, "Hey, you seem to not like me or what I do. That's cool. I'm gonna invite you to my factory where I'll sit down with you for an hour and I'll answer any questions that you have. Lunch
Yeah.
is on me." And so the investigative journalist was like, "Dude, okay." So he came up with a long list of like really technical, advanced questions that there's no way Henry Ford would know. And so he gets to the factory, meets the receptionist. She takes him up to the top floor where Henry Ford's sitting, and they sit down at the desk. Henry Ford is sitting at his big desk. The investigative journalist is across the desk, and Henry Ford was like, "All right, let's get into it. What's your first question?" And the guy who had talked to his friend, who was an engineer, read out this like big, long, hairy technical question about like, "Oh, well, how do you calculate the stoichiometric ratio for the proper compression ratio that you want in your cylinders in your engines or whatever?" Something that even the investigative journalist didn't know. And then Henry Ford was like, "I'll tell you." And then he dials the phone on his desk and then he puts it on speaker. Let's say it's speaker, it's in the 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
So he puts it on a speaker and it's his chief engineer on the phone. He was like, "Hey man, can you answer this question?" And he reads out the question, then he spits the answer back to him. And he's like, "Thanks." And he hangs up. He goes, "What's your next question?" And the investigative journalist was like, "Okay, well, like, how do you ethically source the leather for your seats in your back cab of the whatever?" And so then Henry Ford dials up his product procurement guy and then he answers the question. And the investigative journalist goes, "Well, why the fuck am I sitting down and talking to you if you're just going to outsource all your questions to all these guys?" And Henry Ford was like, "Well, it's because I'm the only person who knows all these guys. I'm the one who's organizing all this. No, of course I'm not going to answer the questions on like all this
Yeah.
technical math shit. I'm not a math
Yeah.
guy. But my math guy isn't a product securement guy. And my product securement guy isn't a point of system sale guy. And he's not a marketing guy.
Yeah.
But I direct all of these other guys." And so I think that a requirement for owning a business and a requirement for being a leader is to not be as good at anything as the other people in your business, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were the best at everything in your business, then why are you paying anybody else to do
Use
it?
the AI.
Exactly. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like
Right.
you should have someone who's better at marketing than you.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like I know that that's true.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes hard to look at it, and Hormozy talked about this on a podcast that I listened to recently as well. He was like, I have learned that when I don't write books and I don't go through these launch processes, that I get involved in the business, and every time I do, I just fuck shit up. And he said that. He was like, every time I get involved and I try to take running and operations away from Layla and to work on something, I screw it all up and we lose money every time. And so he's like, all I do is write books, I work out, and then I work on advertising because I can't break advertising by just making more ads of me doing the same thing.
Right.
And he's like, I just can't break that funnel. So I just do that. Everything else, I don't touch it because every time I try to touch it, I just break it. And it's like, I listened to that and, like, I empathized it, like, at the, like, the microscopic level of, like, damn, like, I do feel that way sometimes, though, of, like, damn, like, do I really screw all this shit up?
Yeah.
And like, it sucks. I think that's part of the reason why I love, like, the car wrenching still, is, like, I don't have to like, it's disconnected from anything really competitive. And it's just, like, kinda like me being in my zone, doing my thing, and if stuff breaks, it breaks, and if it works, it works, and it's like there's no other factor.
Right.
It's just like It's just like me in this thing, and I can be as good or as bad as I personally want to believe, and then there's nothing to tell me otherwise,
Right.
right? And it's just like, it's like a ignorance is bliss. Like I could be doing everything wrong in that moment, but if I believe that I'm doing it right, then it's blissful and it's
Right.
fine, right? And so like that's part of that what I appreciate about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Sorry, that was a tangent on your life lesson.
No, it was a
But
good tangent. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the fallout of this is like the result of this email that I got from Hermosi is I'm gonna finalize the product that I'm working on, and I'm not gonna worry about advertising. Um, I'm not gonna succumb to the just go sell mentality that a lot of salespeople have. I earn enough money from engineering that I can afford not to, and so
yeah,
I'm gonna use that to um, not perfect my product, but get it to an area that I'm comfortable providing value. So, in an effort to stave off analysis paralysis, instead of waiting to give this affiliate package to anybody until the whole listing launch system is done, as soon as I have the affiliate package done, I'm going to start giving it to my clients and I'm going to start
yeah,
rolling. But as far as advertising and marketing goes, I'm going to hold off on making specific content with call to action or anything like that until I can write ideas and explain why those ideas answer these variables. And
yeah,
I'm going to do that a bunch of times. And I'm sure I'm going to run through, instead of going through filming, editing, posting, and then waiting for data collection on all these posts, I can answer the questions with the math. It's funny, a Hermosi podcast I was listening to, he was on Diary of a CEO.
yep.
Um,
I listened to that one this week too, actually.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
he
good.
talked about anything that you can answer with math, you should, and then if you can't answer with math, you have to answer with testing, but it's just one of those 2 things, right?
Yeah.
And so, I can answer this with math because now I have an equation to follow,
Mhm.
similar to the value equation, I don't have to answer it with testing. So,
Right.
instead of testing because I didn't have a variable like I did in June, July, and the early August, now I can test with a variable without having to do all the testing. So then Grace isn't gonna feel like we're jumping from thing to thing because I can jump in my head rather than in actual
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
So that was a really good lesson that I learned this week.
I would also play around with very small tilde before our dial in, I presume, but
Mhm.
um play around maybe with making a custom chat GPT of like your thoughts and your processes and your listing launch and all that stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause I did that for the branding and it was actually super helpful. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I've recently found a lot of real estate people online I like who are just like telling stories about what they're doing.
Mhm.
And I realized that if you're a good storyteller, then you have good retention in your videos. That's why Mr. Beast does so well. If you establish stakes early on and a payoff at the end, and then the payoff pays off, then
Mhm.
you're good. And then if you make it about real estate and then you can promote yourself as being the expert in the situation or having learned a lesson, and that's how you know what to do going forward, then you can earn clients that way really easily. And
Yeah.
so as soon as I saw that and I realized that, I was like, oh my God, that's SPCL right there. It's him going through and solving the problem. Like they're just like him because they didn't know either or whatever, right? And my immediate urge is like, oh, go write those videos and film those videos. And so then I'm having the self restraint to say, nope, finish this up, then go use it and market it.
Yeah.
Have something to market, which
Yep.
most agents don't.
Very cool.
So that's it.
You got a dial in for us?
I do. This is in answer to all of my emails because now I'm getting like 40, 50 emails a day back on all this affiliate stuff. Whereas previously I would get like, I was waiting on all these people to reply. Cause I mean, I did send 40 emails. So I'm waiting
Right.
on 40 people to get back to me, or 60 probably, because some of them had two. And sometimes they would reply and then I would answer and then they wouldn't reply back. And so then I'm just waiting for them. And I got fed up with it. And so then I was like, oh, epiphany. I'm just going to do what Hormozy says and just do enough that it would be unreasonable that I don't get an email back. So I'm just going to email like
Yeah.
20 companies for each of these, and then I will surely get emails back.
I'm so sorry. I just
Yeah.
thought of it's such a good friggin' tie-in.
Yeah.
When we were going to PBIR, I was working all that whole day before Palm Beach,
Mhm.
and 20 minutes before we leave, I'm sitting there on TikTok scrolling through other people who have gone, and I got a copy paste message. I'm just firing. I'm just go 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 go, like messaging all these people, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are your tips? What are your tricks? What are your tips? What are your tricks?
Yeah.
And Sammy's watching me do this like 20 minutes before we have to leave. And she's like, no one's going to respond in 20 minutes. And I turned to her and I was like, if you message enough people, there will
Yeah.
be one person who
Yeah.
responds.
Yep.
And not shitting you, we sat down in the car
Uh-huh.
10 minutes later and two people had messaged me back. And then a third on our drive messaged me back.
Hell
And I
yeah.
was like, if I do enough volume,
Yep.
it is unreasonable
Yep.
that someone doesn't get back to me.
Yep.
Right. It was just like such a good tie on what
Yeah.
you say. I was like, I got to mention it.
That's the quote. It's do so much volume that it would be unreasonable that you would be unsuccessful.
Yes.
Alex Hormozy.
Yeah. 100% love it.
That's all I got.
Very cool. Great podcast.
I think so.
Thank you for the amazing gift.
Of course.
I am being flexible about the scheduling and timeline and location stuff. So, hopefully you guys had a great week. And are looking forward to a good one this coming week. Getting into the fourth quarter of the year with the holiday seasons. Maybe you guys are wrapping up plans for Halloween or whatever. But hope you have a good one, and we will see you next time.